Hello. Welcome back, my friends. This is episode 5. We're doing this thing, aren't we? We're getting some of these bad boys under our belt. I am happy to say I have brought you a guest for a second week in a row. Please, everyone, give a warm welcome to one of my best friends, Dylan Jones, a.k.a. Tripmac, if you know him by his alias. Great buddy of mine. Can't say enough good things about the guy. He will be a regular on this, so I hope you guys enjoy this episode because this is kind of the vibe that we get together. This episode I think is a good example of why I wanted to call this Unserious University, because I don't want everything to be so serious. I want it to get a little lighthearted. I want it to be more palatable and enjoyable, and that best part of me comes out when I get to hang out around Dylan. So we have a lot of fun. This is 2 hours of brain rot. I'm not going to give you a crazy summary. We dive into many topics, and we center around, we talk about AI for the second half, and for the first half, we talk about internet culture and Trump and school curriculum, a wide variety of things. But it's a lot of fun. I laughed my ass off during many parts of this. So I'm excited for this one. I really hope you guys like it. And if you guys have any feedback for me, I mentioned it at the end of the episode, but I'll mention it here. Please let me know. I love hearing from you guys on what you like, what you don't like, how I can get better. These are the early stages, so I'm really looking to improve things as best I can. But with that being said, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone has a fucking phenomenal week. This is Unserious University, episode 5 with Dylan Jones. Thank you very much, and let's get on with it. Bye. I was thinking today about how, I need to put less stress on myself with this shit, and I'm not trying to save the world here. I'm just trying to enjoy what I already enjoy, which is what we were just doing, fucking talking about decks and the current state of Pokemon cards and all this shit.
We're just chatting, man.
Yeah, I've been overthinking every little minute detail, when in reality I just need to enjoy myself, and I think that'll be contagious, and it'll be
I've seen you break down in your car a few times. I come home and you're just sobbing in the driveway. But usually it's Chapel Roan is on, and I don't know what the vibe is. It's kind of conflicting. But
something about you getting eaten out.
Yeah, I don't know. In the passenger seat, you got your legs spread over there. I don't know what's happening. You're full tears. That's all I know. Also, a podcast is playing kind of at the same time.
Chapel Roan's playing from the phone.
Yeah.
The podcast is playing from the car speaker.
And then I just hear you say something, and then I just hear stupid, 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 stupid.
Punch the glove box, it opens because there's no buttons. You have to close it again.
Yeah, you hit your stupid Tesla horn and it goes, and then you just cry harder. But yeah, I think you need to be easier on yourself for sure.
Yeah, I was, and I'm not even gonna consider this part of what I'm posting, but just so that we can kind of get the wheels turning.
Yeah, me neither. That was stupid.
I don't know. I've just been overthinking a lot on how it gets received by people, how it comes off, what people think when they're listening to it, if it bores them, blah blah blah, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And in reality, I am going to have a very small population of people who are here for every episode, and then a bigger chunk of people who jump in and out when they see something that piques their interest, and then an even bigger population of people who maybe listen to one episode a year or something.
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I went through a very similar thing. Yeah.
And I just need to care a lot less about trying to do too much, and I just need to do. And then if I suck if I suck at this for a year, and then I am pretty good at it the second year, then people will come and listen and they'll be like, oh, he's pretty good at this. And like,
Yeah.
that's how it's going to be.
Well, and people like you and the podcast from the jump, and then it's like also people know that anything gets better with time, and so
Right.
like you're just gonna kind of like mold and master this, and just kind of get better and better, and things, you know, you'll find that flow state or what you do and don't like, and people can be like, I thought it was good, you know, from the first episode, I thought it was
Right.
good from the jump, and now this dude's just got like a rhythm, and
Mhm.
so it's just something fun to hop in and out of, and you, like you said, you're just gonna kind of whittle down to that core audience that
Mhm.
is here every week that like kind of waits like, oh sick, there's a new Unserious post, so I
Yeah.
know what I'm going to listen to on my commute for the next like day or two or something, and that's the real audience, and that will
Yeah.
slowly grow,
Yeah.
and you'll have those people come hop in and out with the occasional episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also like, yeah, I'm in such a weird phase of, I want to make sure I keep up consistency and get used to the lifestyle and what it feels like to have this in my life. Like I've
Yeah,
only
it's
done
hard.
I've only done 4 episodes. So like maybe, I mean, not even, I guess you could call it a month, like, because I took a 2-week break during the 2-week break.
Yeah, during Christmas.
But like
Bro,
I
it's
just-
not about the grind.
I wanted to get used to what it felt like and I still am getting used to what it feels like to do this. And every, like, once a week or maybe once every other week, I'm like picking away at trying to get progress on like getting video up and getting different software that I use and all of this stuff. And I like I'm constantly worrying about like hypotheticals that like aren't even happening. And like, for what, bro?
Yeah, I know.
for what?
Like, I mean, you're talking to the right guy about it. That's like I'm in my head all the time too. And the hardest part is just starting. We've talked
Mhm.
about that
Yeah.
100,000 times. Like it's kind of getting out of your own way. That's why I'm glad you just kind of jumped into it when you did and just
Yeah, me too.
uploaded the first episode just by yourself, and then even just kind of kept that going with some solo episodes, because it was like, I just got to stop overthinking this. I know I want to do this, and it's like I'm going to put it out there, and then I'll figure it out as it naturally, organically evolves. And again, that was very similar to what I did in high school when I made a YouTube channel, and then just I got a camera for Christmas, and I always wanted to, and I was like, fuck it, I don't have anything else. I don't have a mic or whatever, but I have
Right.
a camera, so I was just like, let me just press record and stand in front of it and see what happens, and then it just kind of went from there. But it's just that first step in getting out of your head and not trying to care so much about how it's received, so long as you are proud of yourself for doing it, for creating something, taking that first step and being like, it's a first step of many
Yeah.
in a very long journey, and you just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes against like my mode of operation. Like I'm so like particular about like prepping as much as possible and like planning for like a great start, and then starting like already like with like one foot out the door already going. And it's kind of been a little against my nature to just say fuck it and start like way further from the plan that I had in my head,
Yeah.
and then figuring out as I go. It's like I knew it was the right thing to do, but it's like not what I normally do.
Yeah, that's not in your nature.
No,
I'm-
no.
Yeah,
I'm like coping.
yeah, not at all, man. 100%. You are much more meticulous and more like thought out, and like I have to do it this way and that, and because I mean I saw you like buying all the stuff, all the packages that would arrive and things, and you kind
Mhm.
of like planning all this out in your head, and this isn't ready or this isn't ready. I mean, like even when I try to get you to play competitive video games with me,
Yeah,
or
literally.
or even just games at all, not even in comp mode, but I'm like, yeah, hop in the lobby, let's run some matches, and you're like, oh well, let me just play by myself for a while and get the mechanics down, and let me figure out these maps some more, and I'm like, ugh, and I'm
Yeah.
like, just jump in,
Yeah.
and I'm like, just trust me, man, go on the
Mhm.
deep end. And I'm glad with this of all things, this is the thing that you did kind of just jump into, because like you said, it's easy, man. I mean, it's just you got to take a lot of that pressure off, and then you realize it's just a fun thing you get to do with people that you're interested in.
Yeah. And that's like I need to start shifting my thinking to being in that space, because like I want to I want to stop thinking of it as like this, like, oh, like I'm some fucking tech bro with some like deeply planned out weekly schedule who has like all of his time slots perfectly calculated. And I'm like, and then during these hours on this day, I will record a podcast episode and then blah, 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 blah. When in reality, I want it to feel much more like sit down with me and let's fuck off for 2 hours and get used to what that feels like. So that the umpteenth time that we do it, it's like we're just rocking out pure fucking gold. Like it's just fun.
Yeah.
And
gotta get comfortable.
Yeah. And I just haven't gotten comfortable. And that was something that was just on my mental today.
Did the Sean episode help?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like kind of like recording with you prior and then recording with like Francisco and then with Sean, it's just kind of been this thing that's kind of like chipped away at it. It's nice to like be able to fucking have something to post with another person that time around. But yeah, during the conversations we've had, it's felt a lot more organic. Like it is a different beast doing it by myself.
Yeah, there's no one to bounce off of.
Oh my
there's not really a flow or a cadence like to the conversation or anything. And it's just like you're in your own head, you'll get lost. Like if I was doing it, I'd be talking and then it would be a lot of
Dude,
be a lot of like what so what's
fax machine noises.
What else did I want to talk about? Like there'd be a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like you gotta sit down with someone sometimes and you gotta get the flow going, you get a theme going. You're gonna bring up things that's gonna trigger something in my brain and vice versa.
Yeah.
And we try our best to stay on topic, but both of us are like a tree of ADD where we branch off into like a million other subcategories.
Yeah. That's why you were like, what do you want to talk about today? And I'm like, we can find a diving board to like start at, but I really don't care, and I'm tired of caring. Like, it's gonna be what it is.
If this makes it in or doesn't make it in, I mean, for those who don't know, like me and Tub did record another podcast that file is just lost in the vault forever because Audacity just fucked the whole thing up, and he even tried to like work backwards on the code of it.
I turned the audio into numbers and letters, like text,
and straight just binary. It was just like, and he tried to save that, but so it probably wouldn't hurt to go over a little bit of what we did in that episode. But because no one else is gonna hear it, I guess, except for ChatGPT if they can decode it. But like,
I tried to send it to ChatGPT, and the file was too big. There's too much text.
ChatGPT said,
like,
"What?
Whoa!
Listen here, dork, yo,
Jesus
there
Christ.
are still rules to this shit." Literally, I don't really feel like it.
Yeah, I would have put a metric ton of carbon into the atmosphere just trying to get it to decode.
Bro would have gone toe to toe with Taylor Swift. That's crazy. Just to decode the original Tub and Dill podcast episode.
It's just us being like, Luigi Maggione.
Oh my God, you hear about this assassination? He's got the name as the brother of Mario. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that's about the time period that we recorded that episode.
The world really needed that.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit. And a lot of it was just we can't really say anything that you guys haven't already seen or read online. That's kind of old news by now. But it was just talking about how a lot of it. There was some funny stuff online, but at the end of the day, it like was a human being that got murdered, and it was kind of crazy what the reception was like. But we won't really, I guess, dive too deep into that because again, it's like a month and a half old at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, and it's also kind of crazy how quick it died off.
Yeah,
like
I mean, he's going through trial and stuff now. But you see that. Speaking of, I guess because we'll mention this briefly, but you see the pictures of him being escorted like to the courtroom, and it's like 20 riot cops, and like it's like you got like the
and then the
mayor
Arkham
there.
Asylum orange jumpsuit,
bro, and like they're escorting him in like he's the fucking scarecrow, and it was just like Jesus Christ, man. This is like a mentally unstable college student. Like, I get it. That can be a lot of damage. But, like, it was a little bit of overkill. And it just kind of, like, upped his pompous or whatever.
Yeah, his
online.
aura.
Yeah, where I was like, God, you guys are feeding into this bullshit. Like,
100%.
The pictures have been funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it just, nothing ever sticks nowadays. You could do the craziest shit. There was, like Aaron Bushnell who lit himself on fire.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, like, what's the newest meme?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sound like a 55-year-old right now, but it's just how fucking desensitized we are. And it's
Yeah.
like, and I say that we're like a tree of ADD with the branches and stuff, but that's internet brain. And it's like, we're shoved so much information and so many like breaking current events that it's like, yeah, California was just on fire, but also the East Coast is going through a fucking ice age. And also aliens are real. and New Jersey
Yes.
shooting down drones with slingshots. And meanwhile, you have people that are just like, God, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. And people they just can't really deal, and they don't care. It's like, there's that meme that I always laugh at, but it's like the alien coming down, and it's like, are you not surprised to see me, human? And the guy's like, man, I got a lot of shit going on right now. And like, that's really how it is. And that's why things move so quickly.
I cannot explain. There was a conversation going on Twitter for a little bit where people were talking about the OG memes, like
Bad Luck Brian.
Yeah, like Bad Luck Brian and the like thinking Velociraptor and the troll face, or Forever Alone face.
Like the scrunchy kid one or whatever. Was
the
finger pointing.
the baby with the fist of
that's
sand.
what it was.
Yeah, all of those memes.
Fist of sand.
And they were talking about how memes used to last for years. Like, you were looking at the memes in 2009, and then in 2012, it was like still the same drawings, still the same.
Yeah, dude, because I was playing Robot Unicorn Attack on Facebook Games, and it was like Charlie the Unicorn left like a decade-long impression, but it stuck around for a while, like Fred and that YouTube stuff.
Yes, or Annoying Orange and Smosh and Ray William Johnson and all of that shit.
Oh, God equals 3, yeah. But it was like the Wild West of the internet still a little bit at that point where not nearly as many people were on the internet as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Where now it's like the internet is like an essential utility where like everyone needs it. And I don't think people saw as much, man.
Yeah, but that's what they were getting at, was the fact that memes used to last years, and nowadays if you're off anything for 2 months, you don't know what the fuck is going on. There was
easily.
There was a night I was laid up with Rachel, and I'm just opening up reels that all the boys are sending me, which is already like trying to figure out which wire to cut.
Yeah,
like, oh God, what are they sending me?
Oh God,
and
I feel like I have to proofread these.
I have to guess from the thumbnail what it's gonna be. And I got to Nolan's messages, and I'm opening the ones that he sent me.
Those are the worst.
And I opened one, and I immediately was like, fuck. I was like, I'm gonna laugh at this, and it's not funny, and it's extra not funny because Rachel is chronically offline.
Yes,
and I open it, and it's like, boy, I hope eyes don't get stabs today. I says unstabedly.
The fucking Larry shit, bro. I was like, if someone pops in after a month offline, and it's like, so Larry's father invented the Pinar explosion chamber, and it's like. And then meanwhile, I'm like, holy shit, there's Larry lore.
Yes,
like, I'm like, we're getting Larry lore.
Something happened about, God, some fucking Pinar snipping blob bullshit. And he goes, and I thought it was Doctor, but it was. And I go under my breath, Larry. And it was like evil Larry. And Rachel was like, why did you know that it was Larry? And I'm like, because this meme has been like uber popular for fucking 72 hours.
Yeah, bro. It's the creature feature featuring the creature.
and it's stupid, and it's so like multi-layered of brain rot that no one would think it was funny unless you're so chronically online. And of course, that'll be the thing that I'm repeating to myself when I'm senile in an old home.
Yes.
It's not going to be anything of importance.
Literally.
The future creature featuring the creature.
But the creature was Larry. All right, Grandpa, let's get you to bed.
100%.
And like, I'm sure there's going to be somebody listening to this who we just sound like a fucking psych ward patient.
Oh,
and
most
like,
people.
If you've seen it, you know exactly what we're talking about. And I hope you're laughing a little bit with our dumbasses. But like, it's a bunch of pictures of cats that are edited like funny as fuck sometimes with an AI narrator reading like grammatical errors, and it's hilarious. It's really funny.
It's like irony cubed.
Yeah, it is. Again, it's just brain rot ultimately, and I knew that we were going to end up talking about brain rot, like,
Yeah, and
specifically.
And then I have my Instagram group chat with my family, where it's like my
Wow.
mom, my brothers, my uncle.
it's a
my
reel
dad.
that's just like mom's checking in to let you know she loves you.
Yeah, or it's just like live, laugh, love. How about live, laugh, wine? And then everyone's like,
Boo, where's Larry?
dude, literally. And I cannot, I cannot even begin to express the horrific things going on in my mind,
Bro, and just think about how if you had one misclick on
Oh,
if you
dude.
sent a reel
Oh,
to
dude.
the family group chat. Because I have the same
100%.
experience. My mom will send me reels, but it's always just like it's a reel followed by like just your crazy mom sending you something I laughed at, and it's like again it's like live laugh whine or it's something like that, and then every other thing that I'm sent is just the meme of the week. And
Yes.
it's especially with Twitter, where Twitter, it's like if you miss Twitter, you're missing so much, man. You're missing,
And somehow nothing.
yeah, like the Rizzler and all that is old news
Yeah,
now.
Costco
that's,
guys.
That's all old news.
Yeah.
There's a meme of the week every single time, and it's so fast. And and going all the way back full circle now to your point originally, this kind of like lifestyle online, this culture, if you will, is why when you see a video of a man lighting himself on fire, you're just like unfazed.
100%.
Like you might sit there for a second and stop and be like, "What the fuck?" And then you're gonna scroll, and then
Dude.
you're gonna go to the next 10-second video.
I've been, I say I, but obviously us, we have been bred in this era of time to just not be fazed by anything. I remember when I was on Twitter and the Vegas shooting started happening, and I was like, fuck. And then I went on Periscope because I could go to Vegas and people were live streaming the mass shooting on Periscope. And I was just like, dang, guys, this is crazy. Like, just our friends just watching shit go down live because you could. And
that's like dystopian, dude.
literally, and
'Cause
I'm like,
that was fucking horrible. That
yes,
thing
it was
wild.
I think it's still the worst shooting in American history, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember.
And it was just insane. And I'm watching this shit before my prefrontal lobe is fully developed, and
Yeah. And people
I don't even think twice about it.
There's like a modern American tragedy. I mean, even like fuck the American part of it, just a modern tragedy that's
Right.
going on. And again, some of people's thoughts are, I'm going to live stream this. But even the fact that we live in a world where people can live stream it,
Right,
where it's
exactly.
like, oh my God, I can just do like 2 clicks on my phone and I can get like a POV firsthand experience of like something that's forever traumatizing.
Yeah.
And it's like that kind of speaks to the point on which we've talked about before in private, which is like, you know, not all of this can be good for the human brain.
Oh, no.
I mean, so too many people already think that just because you can tweet, it means that your opinion is valid, or that like
Yeah.
just because you have a box to stand on means that you
Oh my
deserve to be heard.
God. Right.
But like, so you give everyone a voice, but then you also give everyone access to like every part of the world, the good and the bad. And like I'm saying, there are good parts to it, but there are certain things that I've seen. And I'm in my 20s, so I don't think about it like this. But if I had children, like
Right.
now all of a sudden it's like I totally get it. Where I'm like, how do you shield them from the shit that just pops up? Where it's like, you give them the phone and then they start scrolling through YouTube Shorts and it's kid videos. But then all of a sudden that algorithm changes and all of a sudden they're seeing stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
what are you seeing at 5? Because at 5, I was riding a tricycle and like I was doing 5-year-old things that we all think of.
Yeah, I was playing pretend with my fire truck on the carpet.
Exactly, yeah. Or I was outside and I was like trying to like do whatever. And nowadays you got 5-year-olds and it's like, what are they seeing? And it's
Yeah.
like, I will only know with time. But when those people become adults, and it's like, how desensitized will you be? Like, are we actually about to see like a generation of like sociopaths
Yeah.
that are just like no
Numb.
emotion? And it's just like I've seen everything.
I know. And
I
we
don't
were
feel.
in a weird spot because our parents had like the tech just advanced at a rate that our parents could not keep up with,
Yeah.
and they had no clue what we were looking at, like how easy and accessible it was, because not only did they have no real parental like overwatch on anything, but on top of that,
Overwatch.
it was the Wild West at the time. like porn and gore and the
Bro.
worst things, torture videos were on Google Images. Like
Yeah.
it just wasn't that hard. And Google Images had the most archaic algorithm of all time. You could
Yeah.
look up Mario Kart secret passages in Double Dash, and then after the third page of Google Images, because God forbid you click next page,
Yeah.
tits,
Literally.
ISIS videos.
When you click on the fifth O in Google, and you're like, I'm going deep on this.
100%. And your parents are asking you how you explore Internet Explorer. It's like the game is cooked.
Yeah, and then you're worshipped because you switched the HDMI.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's like, okay,
you turn the
yeah,
router
this is-
off
this
and
is-
on.
And that's actually a good argument to a counterpoint to what I'm saying too, which is that like possibly like our children, the next generation, where it's like they might be better off than we were because we have a much better understanding of what the internet is capable of and what it can do. I mean, we don't, speak the ancient text to me because I was there when they were written. And so it's like, I was on the family computer Googling boobs when I was 7. And so it's like, evil war never changes, man.
War
War
never changes.
Evil finds new forms, man. Life finds a way.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, our parents, we were there when the iPhone came out and it changed everything. And then now you have the generation of iPad kids and stuff. But it's like, at least when we have our children, it's like we are going to be much more aware of the algorithmic rabbit hole that these kids can go down and how it can quickly go from trains to like twerk compilations.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Well, also these tech companies have a much better job of making parental controls on things and creating kid accounts so that their content is very specific on what they're actually seeing, because there was no such thing as that when we were a kid. It was like, hell yeah, I'll sign up for 4chan. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Deviant art sounds cool.
Literally.
All right.
Yeah. And
That might have been too deep of a cut.
and I think we'll have super tech dependent kids, but not as scarred as early, I would hope.
Maybe.
It just depends on, and that's the thing too, something that I've noticed is fairly universal with our generation is they're like no social media until you're like 16.
Yeah, and I'm so behind that. I actually think that's a law that just got passed in Australia. In Australia, I think, and again, you can quote me on this. I'd say Jamie pulled that up, but he's on lunch right now. And so, I think Australia has a new law in place where they don't let kids under 16 have access to social media. It's like certain sites and stuff. I don't particularly know how you enforce that.
You can't.
If it's just like, when were you born? And someone's like, this year?
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, come right in.
Hey, new person to our black and yellow website. Are you 18?
Yeah.
You bet I am.
You bet I am. Sure. Depends on who's asking. You a fucking cop?
Chill out, I'm not a cop.
Yeah. Crazy. Excuse me? That's another reference. But yeah, man. I mean, because we've been doing that since our days on the internet, where it's like, even like I had to change my settings on Steam because I would go to like an M-rated game and Steam would be like, "How old are you?" And I'd be like, "If you don't fuck off with this Prussian manage, let me buy Helldivers."
Yeah.
Like, I'm over this. But if that's all they're doing, then I don't know how they enforce that. But I do remember reading something recently that was talking about Australia passing a law pretty unanimously that was banning kids under 16 from having access to social media. I think that's a really good thing. Obviously not barring them from the internet, but from social media, because like that's also, it's just a crazy thing on what can happen. And I think we have a better control on it than our parents ever did because we grew up with it.
Yeah.
But this stuff changes because like the Instagram now is not the Instagram when we were kids.
I was going to bring
or
that
in
up.
high school. Twitter now is not the Twitter when we downloaded Twitter.
No. I was going to bring that up because it's so funny. People talk about Facebook and Zuckerberg and all the censorship and how heavily monitored everything is, or should I say kind of was. And I think about how we're talking about, opening reels in public is sketch.
Yeah.
That's still Meta. Like, that's still Zuckerberg. That's still this mega corporation overseeing content that is and isn't shadow banned.
Yeah.
And Instagram arguably has the worst culture.
I've completely stopped using TikTok for the most part because Instagram Reels is like incredibly funnier and is darker.
Yes, there are no rules.
It's like no restrictions.
Yes, there's
Yeah,
no restrictions
it's crazy.
at all.
And they want to ban TikTok. And the only reason, again, TikTok just turned into like a big virtual magazine. Everything is an ad or just trying to get me to use their shop. But yeah, Instagram is like, it's owned by the biggest social corporation on the planet. The corporation, Facebook, now known as Meta. And it's everything flies on there.
Everything, dude. And nobody gets reported. People get 20K likes instead.
Dude, there's an entire accounts dedicated to some of this rot.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And that's the main difference is I feel like there's still that huge like culture war on Twitter where people are screaming like, guard, like, why can't he post this? And on Instagram, it's just mob rule. It's just, you don't 100%. Like the comment section? Don't go in there.
Don't go in there. How'd you get yourself here? Yeah, welcome to the cesspool.
Dude. And so I don't know. I don't get it. If you would have asked me how I thought Instagram culture would evolve over time, like prior to Twitter turning into X, I probably would have told you it would have continued to be like further censored.
The safe zone.
Yeah, the safe zone.
And like moderated.
Yeah, no sharp corners, no like tacks or blades. Like everything is babyfied.
Yeah.
And it just complete 180. As soon as Zuckerberg got a mid-low fade, like everything changed.
And started wearing that damn gold chain, and then made what was that Z-Pain that he did? He has a collab band now with T-Pain.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's different now, man. That guy's UFC fighting and shit. That's kind of crazy. But like, funny enough, when it comes to like the short form content, like this portrait, TikTok, Reels, that kind of stuff, the safest one I think is YouTube Shorts.
Yeah,
like YouTube Shorts. They will get more like vague with like referencing something that's like might be a little bit more on the sexual side or a little bit more on the edge side. But like when I watch YouTube Shorts, it's basically always from like content creators that I follow or I'm interested in, and it's a lot of like nerdy stuff for me. But YouTube Shorts has always been safe.
Yeah,
Reels is the Shadowlands.
Yeah, 100%.
And TikTok has just turned into like the Wall-E chair that you sit in, and it's just like, can I pet that dog? And it's like, this is the dress that I bought, and then it's like, welcome to Rizzler. It's a magazine. It's like Sky Mall, the app.
Yeah, everyone's either hot and vapid or ugly and funny, and that's it.
Bro, find your box. Conform.
Yeah.
So yeah, social media, man. It's gonna be fun to see how much that unravels, especially with like Zuckerberg changing as much as he has, at least publicly, like we just talked about. Musk now owning Twitter, now known as X. I will never call it that. It'll always be Twitter to me. And just kind of seeing what happens. The TikTok ban that's looming is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
Because this has been toyed around with for a while. This seems the most serious that it's ever been.
I think so.
And it's soon. It's like next week that it's supposed to happen. But apparently there's talks going on. This is an article that I saw, so take this with a huge grain of salt. But that there was talk of selling U.S. TikTok to Musk.
I saw that.
And if that happens, and he now owns TikTok and Twitter, I mean, there's 60% of the minors with anime profile pictures that are going to lose their fucking minds.
Yeah, 100%.
if he owns both of those. But I think someone's going to step in to kind of save it. I thought that was something Trump had talked about, was like, if you elect me, I will save TikTok. The clock will keep ticking.
TikTok, said the clock.
TikTok. No one will be clocking out a TikTok when I'm in office. All right.
Get home ASAP.
Get home ASAP. We're gonna build the app. It's gonna be a great app. We're gonna rebuild the app, and we're gonna
Talk. We'll call it.
Exact Truth Talk, and we're gonna make China pay for it. Hey, listen to me here.
We're gonna build a firewall.
A firewall so big, the biggest wall of fire you've ever seen. They're going to look at it. China's going to say, wow, that's a big wall of fire. And I promise you this. You vote for me, we'll get TikTok in there. And
yeah,
he's already not delivering, that fucking guy.
Dude, I know. That was oh God. I was less prepared than I thought for another Trump term.
Dude, you talk about these fucking sport highlight reels of Trump.
Which ones?
It's insane, but go on.
Well, this whole time he's campaigning for all these things, right, that I already think are crazy.
Gulf of America.
Well, hold on, let me get there. He's saying things where he's like, we're going to stop taxing overtime and we're going to tariff Canada. And I'm like, this guy's kind of nuts.
We're going to take Canada.
Dude, yeah. And then he wins the election. Then he's like, did I say tariff?
Bro, all I think of is, you know how they came out with the TED show on Peacock?
Mm-hmm.
I still hate that name for a streaming service. But, like, there's that meme that comes out where they talk about, like, the Indian kid that they had in school last semester. And he's like, yeah, good guy. But then they got him. And Ted's like, they got him? What the fuck do you mean they got him? And then he's like, yeah. And that's all I think of when Trump talks about Canada. It's like, good country. But then he got him.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean he got him?
And that's the thing is like, dude, you never once on the CNN debates were like, and then I'll buy Greenland.
Yeah.
Or Iceland. I'll go buy Iceland. Or no, it is Greenland. Yeah, it is Greenland. And
to be fair, he did last presidency put that post where he edited Trump towers on Greenland shores and was like, this would look great.
He's just an elite shit poster. I didn't think he was actually going to cite national security as a reason that we should get it.
Bro, he's not even sworn in yet. And all of a sudden he's like, we're going to take Canada. We're going to take Greenland. It's like, what? We're going to take Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is happening?
I know. And this is all developed before he's even gotten inaugurated.
It's kind of freaky.
It's nuts,
It's
dude. Like
kinda
that's what I
nuts.
said.
It's
I thought I was prepared, and then he's calling him Governor Trudeau. He's saying
which
it's the
is so
51st state.
The 51st state of Canada is beautiful.
I know. The whole time he's like he's campaigning that we don't need more people in our country, and then is like, but it doesn't count as immigration if we we take the country.
Just take them. Yeah, he did mention something about taking Mexico as well. I think.
I know.
Where it was
I
like
think
they love us. The people of Mexico would welcome us with open arms. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so
I don't
either.
think so at all. I don't think the Canadians want anything to fucking do with us.
No.
And so it's this whole thing is absolutely insane. And you want to talk about the internet culture and everything. I think it like not the catalyst, but like the peak of it has been the standing. Well, I guess not now, but about to be, and 4 years ago he was. But the standing president of the United States of America was like the ultimate shit poster online.
Yes.
And it was like, this is the pinnacle, and I don't think I was ready for this,
No.
where this is weird.
Did you see the AI voiceover he did of when he sat next to Obama at Jimmy Carter's funeral?
I've seen the clips of them like laughing and
So,
stuff.
A handful of hours ago, today, Trump posted a video where he AI voice-overed their conversation, and he matches up certain words with the lips so it looks like what they were actually saying. And he's talking about like, oh yeah, we should talk about this over golf, and then like Kamala looks back at them, and then Obama stops, and then she like looks forward again, and he's like, see, she can't even fucking look at me. And he's like, I never liked her. Like, this whole thing, and it's so nuts. It's so insane because I remember when political mudslinging back then would be like not name dropping, like not name dropping your opponent.
Yeah.
Like a certain someone in a red tie wants to see our country pay more in taxes.
Yes.
And it's like, ooh, dastardly. Like, how dare you say such a thing?
Or Joe Biden calling someone a knucklehead was like,
yes,
ooh,
yeah,
Joe's
like,
getting
oh,
feisty.
they're bringing out the big guns, and then Trump's like, Ted Cruz is fat.
Yeah, literally.
Dude, Ted Cruz.
What did he say? It was like, I don't know, it wasn't Ted Cruz. It was like, Ted Cruz, your wife is a dog. You got a dog wife, Ted. Or it was Jeb Bush or whatever.
Yeah,
it was like, Jeb's wife is a dog.
Dude, Jeb
You got
Bush.
a dog wife, Jeb. And it was just like, who the fuck did we let on stage?
100%.
What is happening right now? Because then you go back to like the Romney and like Obama debates or the Bush Obama debates or whatever, and it was just like so much more professional. And it was just like handshaking, and it was just like, hey, like, you know, I agree with my opponent on a lot. However, this is something that I disagree with him on.
Mm-hmm.
I do respect him a lot, but this is what I stand for. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then Trump gets up there and he's just like, you're gay. And it's like, what? Oh, he can say that?
You called women dogs. Only Rosie O'Donnell.
It's like, what? And then a reporter's like, oh, sorry, I'm not thinking. And he's like, that's all right, you never do.
Yeah,
and
dude.
it's like, you can't talk to people like that.
I know. The only people that talk to reporters like that are Trump and Chapel Roan.
And Tony Stark. It's like, what the fuck? It's wild, man. That's truthfully wild.
Yeah, and
it's entertaining as fuck, but in the grand scheme, it's a little concerning, but it's always fucking hilarious.
yeah, I think these talks about Greenland and Canada have been the first time, I think maybe ever, Trump has made me go, what?
Yeah. Well, did you see when he talked about trying to take the Panama Canal, and the
Yes,
reporter
yes.
was like, can you confirm that you will not use military force to like take the canal? And he was like, no, I can't confirm that.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, oh. Okay, like it's kind of nuts. It's kind of insane.
Absolutely.
But you know what? We'll get through these 4 years. We'll see what happens, and then
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll go to the next election, and everybody will be like, if this person wins, we'll all die.
I hope that the pendulum swings back after Trump gets his final term,
Yeah,
and that we kind of prioritize being classy
yeah,
a little more
a
again.
little more.
I miss
Especially when it's the figureheads of our country.
100%. Yeah. Like I think the best thing that could come out of this era of politics is the lack of like shadowy scripted behavior from politicians. I would hope that more politicians would go on freeform podcasts where they don't get to pick the exact things that they say, and they're able to go and do rallies and they can speak off script, off the cuff, like, and just talk like a normal human being does. I feel like that's why so many people didn't trust or didn't like politicians before, because you had the Hillary Clintons that every single thing out of her mouth was a catchphrase, and it doesn't feel like a real person. And then I saw a clip of Tim Waltz on a podcast after the election and talking about like looking back at all of it and why they lost.
He seemed cool.
He seems totally normal. JD
I
Vance,
like
when
him.
he speaks on podcasts, seems totally normal. It's a difference between like agreeing with opinion, but just hearing them talk the same way that we are is so humanizing, and it makes you go, okay, this is a person. I can get behind them. I can see myself disagreeing in a tasteful way with this person, and it not feeling like I'm just yelling at a poster that talks.
And what's hard with Trump is he's the one who often creates that atmosphere of like shit throwing, where it's like he's the one who kind of throws that first low blow, or like says
100%.
something that it's like you can't call someone gay. You're the president. Like what the fuck? Like okay. And I agree with you. I was gonna say too, to your point, is I know a lot of people that were like, dude, I do not want Trump in office, but like I don't know who the fuck Kamala is. Like it's like, she's been in office as the vice president, but like, she fully endorses everything Biden does, and then she goes on and says, I didn't endorse that or that or that.
Yeah.
And like everything she said was very kind of like, she just seemed robotic and just didn't seem
100%.
personable or stuff. And it's like, unfortunately, that's where Trump shines. It's like that's where he kind of overcasts that shadow, is he's just personality. Like that's literally it. And so you're looking at like two opposites on this spectrum. And I agree with you. I hope that, all we can do is hope that when we come back to this in 4 years, that there is another level of professionalism there, when it's like you are, the sitting president of this country, and it's like you can have that relatable, fun side to you, and be an occasional shit poster, I guess. Like it can be, that's the world we live in now. But there is a certain gravitas that comes with being the president.
100%.
And I just feel like I'm not crazy for wanting you to act like it a little sometimes.
Yeah, the guy who on the debate stage said, "I have concepts of a plan," won.
Bro, I swear to God, I made a whole Guardians of the Galaxy meme clip about that debate night where it was like, do you or do you not have a plan? I have concepts of a plan.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right, and that guy won.
And I don't know. It is what it is at this point, and that is the beauty of living in a country that doesn't experience a coup every election, is that we can kind of just move on a little bit and then witness things as they develop, rather than like our absolute daily life changing drastically. So we'll
And at the very least, buckle up, because it's going to be an incredibly entertaining 4 years.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you're going to see some of the funniest shit you've ever seen from a sitting president. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, I can't imagine what his last 6 months.
Oh, my God. That's terrifying. That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you want to get even deeper in that talk. It's like you want him to also be able to get checked on certain levels, but the system that's kind of in place right now may let him operate a little unchecked, and that can be scary.
Yeah.
But I'm not really qualified to get too deep into any like politics, nor am I trying to make any sort of statement. It's just as like I like to believe we're regular folk who are just trying to do the best we can in our lives and look out for ourselves and others. And when you see something like what's going on in the world with social media and the presidency and his usage of it and stuff, you can't help but have thoughts and just like, laugh at when you can laugh and just, make the best of your own life.
I really wonder a lot about how I forget who it was, but somebody oh God, I actually think it was this one guy talking about something completely different, but I think it's relevant for this conversation. How we as a species tend to have amnesia about how things go and mistakes that are made by entire countries or civilizations over the
Except Germany.
yeah.
The original never forget.
The original never forget. But we'll because people don't study history to the extent that it would be required to actually be able to soak in all of the lessons, we continuously repeat problems that we had already learned from the hard way.
Yeah.
And I think having irrational and classless politicians is something that we already learned the hard way in like medieval times.
Yes.
And
yes.
saw why that didn't work and why having some sort of like poise to yourself matters.
Yeah.
It's not just for show.
Yeah.
And my worry is we've seen, I don't know if you've seen as much as I have, but there's been a lot of commercials of other politicians, particularly right-wing ones, thinking they're Trump, and they behave a certain way in their during the election year. They're like, oh yeah, I'm off the cuff, I say retarded, like blah blah blah, like all this stuff. I'm a badass politician, vote for me. And it's so clearly Trump mimicry. They just want to be him so bad because they see that it works for him. And I really hope that he doesn't set this precedence of classlessness or acting out of your ass, because he is very particular about how he does it. Like, he was a TV star for a while and like live TV. So it's not like he's just up there mindlessly. He knows what he's doing. He's calculated about it. He knows how to work a crowd.
And there's like a genuineness to his insanity.
Yeah,
that
that
like,
grips the average American.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely, because if the Republican Party moving forward kind of gets dwindled down to this, it's like that's you can't do that, where it's like, this is one character, but if from here on out all we see from like the Republican side is like Trump clones and people that are kind of just making asses of themselves because they think that's what people will vote for or what they like, that can be scary too. That can be really bad.
I think the biggest lesson out of Trump getting elected was the fact, and this is my opinion. I know a lot of people have a lot of different explanations as to why Trump got elected. I think it is very clear that the left repelled away the average person, not the right was suddenly so attractive. Because there's a ton of people who are left-leaning politically who voted for Trump because they did not want to vote for everything the left has been for the last like 10 years. And so when you hear someone like Trump, even though he's batshit sometimes, say valid critiques of the left, because in my opinion it's low-hanging fruit, and the left refuses to acknowledge that shit, then people go, finally, someone who's calling it out. I like this. This makes me feel like I'm not crazy for all of the shit that is being quote unquote normalized. Yeah. And so the left like repelled a lot of people away because of that. And now I think that, I don't know, it's still early in the game, but it feels like the right is now kind of taking those people for granted, and they feel like they can kind of act an ass and do anything or say anything and not lose support. And I think that won't be the case next election. Like, if we just continuously see more circus acts out of Trump and his administration, if the left can just barely put together a decent candidate, I think they'll totally take it.
It's always an overcorrection, it feels like. It's like you go from one extreme to the other extreme, and it's like you got 90% of Americans that are just like, I want a chill dude.
Yeah.
Like, I just want, like, just a chill person up there who is like, responsible and respectable and can speak clearly and is just relaxed. You know, I want someone who I feel like is a good face to lead the country and stuff. But again, it's been a lot of polarizing topics over the past decade in the country, and so you get a lot of polarizing takes and opinions and those overcorrections and the pendulum swinging one this way and one that way, and it's been very interesting. And I agree with you on kind of like the failures on the left side, I believe, and kind of how we got to a second term for Trump, and then potentially how we may not see many more terms in the near future after this for the Republicans if they keep this kind of charade up.
Yeah.
But again, he hasn't even been sworn in yet. We got 4 years. And so it's like, let's see how it goes. At least, regardless of what side you're on or how you feel, when this term is over, Trump is gone.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So you got people talking about like Donnie Trump Jr. or whatever. I don't really think there's any merit in that.
I don't think he's likable.
No, I don't think so at all.
I think
Plus,
J.D.
we all
Vance
saw him
is a
do
better-
coke at like the F1 race, and people were like, "Oh fuck yeah, dude, Hunter Biden 2.0." Like, maybe this guy fucks. I don't know.
Can we pre-pardon him?
We know it's coming. Like, but yeah,
I think like that chill president that people wanted could have been Joe Biden like 30 years ago. But the fact that he was falling apart in front of our very eyes, and then everyone in his administration was like, "Nothing to see here,
bro. I still think
Get up the stairs, Grandpa."
without a doubt, when he said goodbye and turned around and walked into the forest, that should have been the last we ever saw of Joe Biden until we see a picture of him like on the beach with his wife in Florida or something.
100%.
And it's just like, oh, good, he's still kicking. Like,
Yeah.
it's like he's still up there.
Or like that picture, it felt like that picture that got released of Jimmy Carter when he voted in this most recent election. And it's just like Jimmy Carter casts his vote for Kamala Harris. And it's like, he can't even, he's not even looking at the light. He's in the light at that
Bro,
point.
literally.
You have George Soros in the back room doing devil magic to keep his soul in his rib cage so he
With
can
all the
cast
Botox.
one more vote.
Yeah, all the life he's sucking out just to make his cheeks plumper. And it's like, that shit's crazy, dude. Straight up, just like the woman that ordered the chocolate in SpongeBob. I remember when they first invented chocolate.
Or who was it? Was it Prince Charles, or that traffic picture of him in the passenger seat?
Where he literally looks like
Like
a
a
humanoid
corpse.
skeleton. It's just straight bone with skin on it.
100%.
Just flesh. He's like running. I don't think he is, but it looks like he's running a red light. And he's got that perma old person, like horrified scream face. And it's just like, this person is currently hooked up to an IV that's filled with virgin blood. And they are rushing him to the fucking chamber to perform some sort of some witchcraft.
Dude, 100%. Like, what was it? I think it was one of the Rockefellers had like his 7th like heart bypass surgery, and they're like, "We still got him."
Bro, it's like the family dog, you know, when you come back, it's like you've already graduated college, you got your own place, you go back home for Christmas, it's the dog you've had since you were 4. And it's just like, please kill me. I need you to kill me. And the dog's just shivering, blind in both eyes, pus from its ears. And you're just like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, don't breathe too fast near him. Like, we literally had to give him his 8th kidney. Like, Jesus Christ, man. And so it's
Yeah, and those are
certain
the
things
people
we
running
gotta
our.
let go.
Those are the people running our country. And that was, I don't know if you saw. Lex Friedman had Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, on his podcast.
I saw that. I didn't watch it.
I watched like 2.5 hours out of the 3.
Okay.
And it's very interesting to watch like a war-torn president in modern day. It's
Yeah.
such a trip because it feels kind of like a window into the past. That's a bit of a tangent, but it was just so refreshing to witness a like headstrong, still in the terms of politicians, youthful, confident like person running a country, especially when it's on its heels. Like, he is making no compromises. He's sacrificing everything, and he's competent and calculated and purposeful, and you can see it in his eyes. He means everything he says. And I'm like, holy shit.
Maybe they do need another 500 million.
Another 500 million to Ukraine.
Fuck it. I'm sold.
But I'm like, you kind of in America forget that you can have that. You can vote that in if you wanted to.
I haven't done a lot of research on him or seen a lot, because from my outside perspective, a lot of what I've seen from Zelensky is very kind of PR-y and very kind of showboaty. And so it's like, I didn't know, because obviously I know what's going on over there and stuff, and I know that in the modern world that we live in, there's probably a big part of that where he needs to be like that. But I haven't sat down and actually like heard him talk about it. I haven't, which is something I need to do, and probably educate myself more on him as a person and how he's handling everything over there. But that's cool to hear. Lex Friedman is definitely the atmosphere for that kind of conversation.
Dude, I genuinely think that guy's like doing everything in his ability to usher in world peace.
Yeah, just to have, literally, man, just the idea of a conversation.
Yeah.
And the places it can take you, and how it's okay to have that conversation. A conversation is not a sign off on like agreement. It's like,
exactly.
it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And you can take things from both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. And when Zelensky knows that he has to do a lot of the PR because he is the face of the country. Like if someone else was doing these interviews, people were like, why the fuck isn't Zelensky doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't the president the one having this conversation? So I get it, but he has like videos of him out there in the front lines. He is not afraid. Like, I can't imagine Biden or Trump going to the trenches where you hear drones flying overhead.
Oh, not in a million years.
And with a bulletproof vest and just talking to the soldiers out there.
50-50 shot, Biden makes the flight there.
100%.
It's absolutely not. Trump would probably appear on like a Karen-type robot. It's just like a screen of his face.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
Is there oil here?
Are we pumping water into the Pacific? What's going on?
Yeah, and so it's super interesting. It feels like you're actually witnessing someone that you should be reading about in history that should have already died 50 years ago and is some person in the textbooks that you learned about in high school, but they're still alive, and you hear them talk about the war and defending their country from a huge regime and all of this stuff.
Yeah, like a straight up invasion.
Yeah, and one thing that I learned watching that episode was, or a couple of things that I learned was, most of the money, quote unquote, or the funds that we have sent over there has been in weapons, and they have been American built weapons. So for the most part, it's been money that goes back into our economy because we're building it, and then we donate it essentially over.
It's jobs, people. It's
Yeah.
jobs. Somebody's got to make the bullets.
But also, like, let's be real, and this is an opinion I've voiced a ton of times, personally, just in private conversations and stuff. Everyone knows that Russia is one of America's adversaries or rivals or whatever you want to call it. And for the last 30, 40 years, we've continuously been building military deterrence. Just, how can we build a better weapon constantly so that we're one step ahead of our adversaries, so that if war breaks out, our adversaries know we would win, and so war doesn't break out. The whole nuclear deterrence and all of that stuff. There's never been a better return on investment than giving weapons to Ukraine, who's actively destroying Russia's military. If you're coming from a perspective of an American taxpayer and you're worried about our budget, first of all, look at how big our budget is versus what we send over. It's very small in comparison to things. And second of all, we spend so much on military, which, is fine. We are the police of the world. I get it. But we spend that much so that we can keep our adversaries in check. This is the best way to do it. Like, how you can't put dollars in blow up a Russian jet. Like, you can't do that, but we are somehow.
I guess you could say it's like teaching your little brother to fight, and then like someone tries to fight your little brother, and your little brother kicks their ass, and then they're like, "Damn, I don't want to meet Big Bro."
Yeah.
Like,
and especially when the person little bro's ass they're kicking is
equal to you,
is your hater, like your biggest hater.
Yeah, is more on your level. And even speaking to, when you're talking about like Zelensky being this person that feels like he's kind of ripped out of history, and someone you would read about in textbooks. One thing that hits me a lot, going really quick back to like social media and whatnot, is getting these clips that are just on fucking TikTok and Reels from soldiers that are like in Ukraine, or even stuff that like, in the Middle East or whatnot. It's like we are seeing POV videos of soldiers like fighting and even doing stupid stuff and laughing and whatever, but like people that are in like insane scenarios that you are getting like firsthand live streams, like you said with Periscope and stuff. Not that Periscope's around anymore, but people are TikTok live streaming some insane shit nowadays, and you're getting like windows into like active war zones that like these are moments that you maybe would read about in high school and take a test on, But
or
it's
they
like,
would be lied about, like you weren't there, so whatever the story is, it's
Yes.
just whatever gets told.
but now all of a sudden you open up TikTok and you see drone footage of a little drone dropping a bomb on a tank.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I'm literally watching warfare, like
Yeah.
legitimate warfare. And that's another aspect of it where it's like, this is crazy, where we're like, these big political figures are getting on podcasts and like, talking, and you get to learn more about them as people and their thought process and what they're trying to do. And then you can see actual footage from these wars that's happening right now. And it puts a lot more into perspective.
Yeah, there was a video on Twitter. I almost called it X. Oh God, there's a video on Twitter of a Russian and a Ukrainian getting in a fight on top of each other, and both of them have like police style body cams on them. But the perspective that you're watching from is the Ukrainian, and the Ukrainian brings out his knife and he's trying to stab this guy, and the Russian grabs the knife by the blade and pulls it out of the guy's hand and starts like stabbing him. And this guy's dead. He's dying. And you can hear and by the way, all of this has subtitles. It's already translated. So you can read it in English what they're saying during the fight. And as soon as this guy gets stabbed like in the neck and he realizes, I'm done. Like, this is where I'm going to die, right here on the dirt. He like grabs the Russian guy and he's like, please just go. He's like, just leave me. He's like, I want to die alone. Like, please. And then the guy's like, okay. He's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, it's okay. And the Russian gets up and starts walking away. And the Ukrainian's like, you're the best fighter in the world. And then just, you can hear his like breathing giving out. But it's
emotional, man. That's insane.
It's insane. Cause in that moment, it's suddenly no longer country fighting country, or
man
faceless
man.
Yeah, it's no longer a faceless person. Like, you're looking into the eyes of just a guy who you just killed and who you never knew about, didn't hate, has his own life with his own loved ones. And you can tell as soon as the situation turns mortal and you know that there's no going back, all the hate disappears. It's just completely gone. And that guy's like, just leave me at peace. Like, you're the greatest fighter in the world. Like, and then the guy's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, like, it's two human beings that are in a spot they probably never thought they'd be in, like in actual life or death scenario, fighting to the death. And it's like for a country that they believe in.
Yeah, or for politicians
like,
that don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah, and it's two human beings in this scenario, and all of a sudden you got to imagine. I know there are some that do, but you got to imagine most of these people. A lot of them are like, I don't want to kill this person. Like, I don't want to kill these people. Now, I'm not saying that's everyone. I know that there are people out there that want that and like that.
They think they want that until they get it.
Yeah, but there's some of the best war films that I've ever seen are the ones that humanize every side. When you see it and it really starts to show you where this country or this party was coming from and where they're coming from. And especially when you get rid of the bigger picture and it's just a film about this group of people or this person, and then they encounter the rival group, the rival country, whatever, and then you see them in this very human scenario. It's very good. I mean, 1917 is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and it's World War I.
Yeah.
And it's literally just two young guys that have to, in one night, and the whole film is shot in one take, and you follow their whole journey. They have to deliver a message to not attack on this ridge, and it's like, and if they do, it's insane consequences. They're like, the fate of the war depends on them delivering this message, and it's them running and encountering so many things along the way. And at the end of the movie, when you get there, I mean, I sobbed my eyes out, man. And it's like, war films have a tendency to do that with basically anyone. You think of Saving Private Ryan or even like Pearl Harbor, even though that's more of like a romantic drama. But yeah, you get to the very human element of war, and that's where it hits a lot harder.
I think that may be one of the benefits of having this internet era where everything is filmed and posted for all eyes to see, is that countries not in war can get a taste of what war is actually like. Like, not the glory stories, not the medals and all of the highlights of victories over evil. It's like, no, this is a guy who has no choice but to go die for something that he had no control over. And that's why I think it's good for this to kind of be out there, because it kind of should put the sentiment forward that like everyone should avoid war at all costs.
Yeah.
There are so many other options than getting to that point where loved ones are rolling around in the dirt fighting for their life over one knife. And it has it sounds so cliche, but the people like Putin will never face any hell on earth like that guy did, and he's the reason that it all started, you know. So it's wild. It's a very interesting perspective to be able to view from your bedroom.
Yeah, literally on your smartphone while you're taking a shit.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, a lot of like when you read back about like the medals and the war stories and all the things that kind of get glamorized about it, those were atrocities that happened that no one anywhere wanted. And there were lessons to be learned in there. And like you said, where it's like you mentioned earlier, you don't want those lessons to be forgotten in time, where history repeats itself and the same mistakes get made because you live in this era of quote unquote peace for so long. And then things kind of get sparked up and sparks turn into fires. And it's like, you can't look back at the past and glamorize it all too much. And then, you know, kind of forget about the like devilish nature of it all, that you know got us to where we are now, to this quote unquote peaceful era, because that's what's going to keep us in this and hopefully even make it better. I mean, World War I was originally known as the war to end all wars. Yeah, it was a war unlike anything ever seen on the planet before, and it was so bad that we actually had all of the nations agree on banning certain means of warfare. Yeah. Where it was like,
we started writing laws and rules to
war, which is insane. Where it's like, you'd think if it's really that insane, it's like, no, fuck it, we're doing whatever we can to win this. Like, it's war.
The term "this is war,"
anything goes. But it's like, no, it was so bad that even the countries that were killing each other were like, yeah, but we're not going to do that.
How about like, no more poison gas?
Yeah, we don't care if there's mustard in the name. Yeah. Like, it's not the same. And then it wasn't. And then things repeated and kind of grew from that. And you go to World War II, and it's you can't let those lessons be forgotten. And being in this day and age where you see the videos online and you're getting those POVs from these soldiers, and like it's a different time, man. And hopefully, again, on the optimistic side, which is where I choose to reside most of the time, you hope that it is a good thing and that it does help towards education and really showing people the just utter hell and of war. Yeah. And just how the goal is to avoid this at all costs. Now, the reality is we're not going to be able to. Right. The reality is that it's always there. It's always a possibility, but it's like never getting like lost in like the glamorization of the past, where you got to remember everything that kind of got us to this point. And I know it's kind of a heavy topic and stuff, but it is interesting.
Yeah. I have a thought experiment that I've ran through my head every so often, rarely, but it's fun to think about. And the older that I get, I feel like the closer I get to a realistic answer on it. And I think, funny enough, it was inspired by Wolverine, because
hell yeah,
I think about
Hugh Jackman or comics.
I think I saw it in one of Hugh Jackman's movies, but I think it's comics oriented, so I'm not too sure. But just the idea of being this being that doesn't die and lives through all of these different eras. And I think about, if I was born tens of thousands of years ago in the time of cavemen and hunter-gatherers and all of that stuff, and I was able to, through my own eyes and experience, watch humanity turn into what it's turned into, I wonder what my opinions on current day issues would be. I wonder how much of it would feel like pointless bickering, and how much of it I would genuinely be like the Walter White meme screaming behind the window, where I'm like trying to tell people that we've already made this mistake before like 5 fucking times and to not do it again. And I think my whole point of bringing it up is that's where I feel like I would be at. I would be so frustrated with the constant repeating of mistakes
Yeah.
because we just don't learn for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah, dude. No, Wolverine fucks. that's a great character. That is a part of his story. Yeah. The X-Men in general is incredible when you really know their backstory, specifically Magneto.
Yeah.
Where that's incredible. That's someone where you kind of go back in history, and his entire character, the reason he is and what he is based in his origin and stuff, and you know, being a member of a Jewish family in Nazi Germany, and watching his family get put in concentration camps and stuff. And this is a Marvel superhero character.
Yeah, with a Holocaust origin.
Literally, that like has a stamp on his arm, and it's like that's where his like hatred for humanity and like mutant superiority comes from. But yeah, there's some really cool fiction takes on that idea of living for so long that you watch evolution kind of spike and fall, and the same mistakes get repeated, and what someone's perspective on that would be. I think I'd be mentally insane. I think I'd be doing whatever I could. I'd be praying to what or whomever to kill me. I'd be like the fucking family dog after when you come home for Christmas. I need you to kill me.
I need you to
Please,
kill me.
I can't do this shit again. And so yeah, man, it's a lot. I would not want to be in that position because I think it would be infuriating, potentially. Or you're maybe on the side where you're like, you guys don't realize how good you have it. This is the greatest era that like this planet's ever seen, or humanity's ever seen.
Yeah.
Not the planet, but like, it is very interesting. And then on the dorky side of it, it's like, yeah, dude, like y'all should look into some, like actually dive into some comics a little bit, where it's like there's some really heavy themes that some of this stuff talks about that's very interesting. It would surprise you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the closest we can get to that is by genuinely learning about history and doing it in a somewhat accurate way, where I don't know, it's the Shane Gillis skit where he talks about he's getting old and now he's starting to watch World War II documentaries.
He's turning into a Fox
history.
News dad.
Yeah.
You don't want a Fox News mom. Fox News mom is smoking cigarettes in the living room and isn't picking the kids up from school. You want a Fox News dad. You don't want the Fox News mom.
He'll play catch with you.
Yeah. But yeah, Shane Gillis is actually a great example for someone I think who's like popularizing history a little bit more, because he is super knowledgeable on it and he's hilarious. But I mean, I always said that there was a part of me that wanted to be a teacher at one point, and I thought specifically being a history teacher would be a blast, because I had really good history teachers in high school. But I agree with you. I think it's really important to stay educated on history and just kind of like how we got here, learning from the mistakes, like humanizing this like aspect of it, so you can really feel the weight of what had happened.
Yeah, and I think there's been a trend lately, and again, it originates in internet culture, but there's been a trend of watering down and oversimplifying history, and particularly making every single historical figure or civilization just evil. Like, oh yeah, they were imperialist, they were racist, they held slaves, they practiced patriarchy, they did all of these things, and so they were just morally rotten, and so there's nothing to learn from here. And it's this kind of idea that if we don't have this hyper progressive lens on today, then we're just as bad as them.
Yeah.
And
I don't agree. Like, this is kind of on that point, but that sort of like historical erasure that's like happened, where there's even like some old like film or cartoons or TV shows that have just completely been wiped off the face of the earth because of like very dated themes that are know, now very
Looney Tunes
obviously
and Mickey
considered
Mouse.
out of pocket. Yeah. But like one thing that I've always liked is Warner Brothers, when they show their old Looney Tune animations or stuff, things that are dated or whatnot, or even depict maybe things from World War II, they have a message in the beginning which just says like, hey, this episode portrays some like offensive and dated themes that you aren't going to agree with. And it's like, however, for the sake of like historical preservation, we have kept them in their original form. That way we can, you know, be better and learn and know and like also see the mistakes that we've made.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's also important to just kind of erase all of that and be like, no, history's been squeaky clean. What are you talking about? Like things were never like this. Society was never like that.
Yeah.
What? That's dangerous.
Or on the other hand of just being like, oh no, that was so bad that it doesn't deserve to exist. We should get rid of it. And then, you know, like why are we still playing this? Why is this still being put out? We need to make sure that this is not played anymore because this is bad. Mm-hmm. And it's like control over an era that you didn't even exist in.
Yeah. And I get like when you want to talk like from a capitalistic perspective, like I get when you're talking about cable or even like maybe some services where advertisers are not going to want to run a fucking Pepsi ad on top of like some crazy Looney
Alex
Tune.
Jones.
Yeah, like I get, and that's well within their right. That's the beautiful part about the country too. Is it's just like, yeah, you have freedom of speech, but you know that also means that there's freedom of consequences and like repercussions, and that people don't have to sign off on it either. So like I understand that like there's certain things from the past that aren't going to be like shown or aired on a much more public platform because that's you're dealing with advertisers and you're dealing with money and that's business. I get that, but it's more so like even for like the educational purposes, when someone wants to look a video up and they want to see something or like it's wiped off of the backlog. Like when they print the Looney Tunes collection on DVD, that episode is gone.
Right.
And it's like, whoa. And it's like, okay, so like I think it's important to understand that like because it does show the weight of it where it's like, yeah, look at how insane it was that at this time it was like socially acceptable to do this.
Yeah.
Like, cause you can't have that be lost on people. You got to keep those lessons alive.
Yeah. I remember, stumbling across one of the millions of history YouTube channels and watching a video on Christopher Columbus and like who he actually was and what he actually did, and realizing, oh my God, he's actually a very nuanced character of history who isn't just like this evil, hate-filled person who also has like personal diaries with very, I don't know, like a motley of opinions. And nowadays it's like if you utter the words Christopher Columbus, it's like
you're a genocide supporter.
Yes, 100%. White supremacy, genocide supporter, imperialism, the whole basket of big words.
Yeah.
And in reality, this was not a solely evil person, but by today's standards, he sure as fuck wasn't a great guy.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we can't acknowledge the role he played in history or the events that he was a segue for, essentially. And I feel like nowadays that's just not a conversation people are keen to having.
Yeah.
Especially because just for whatever reason, Christopher Columbus is particularly one of the historical figures that gets a lot of hate on them right now. Like were Confederate soldier generals that probably were worse than this guy, but most people can't name them, don't care who they were, and have no thought in the world about them. But because Christopher Columbus has more of that historical spotlight, it's like, oh no, this is one of the worst people to ever live. And it's like, I think Pol Pot was worse.
I think there were worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably think of a few, but yeah, I get it. And it's like anyone that's not even willing to just kind of have like a conversation about it, it's like you're either completely uneducated or you're far too emotionally driven right now, where it's like you got to be able to just talk, where it's like, because and we talk about this at nauseum, you know, off the air, but like it's just how like the world is not black and white. Like the world is gray. Everything, there's layers to everything, and I apply that to everything. I think there are very few, if at all, anything that's black and white, and it's like, I guess, like, you know, there's a lot to unpack there, but even that's gray. And so it's like, it's just, there's a lot of things to it. And to come from something from a pure stance of, no, I'm here and I'm unable to budge. It's like, well, you're not a fun person to talk to. It's like, there's a lot more here to unpack. And
you're making the world worse.
Yeah. And it's like, you're actively going against the thing that you think you're fighting for.
Yes.
And so that's a lot harder. And Christopher Columbus is a great example too, because like, when we were growing up, that was somebody that was like celebrated in elementary
Yeah.
school, and like
He was
even
a
like
hero.
yeah, like standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. That was
Mhm.
something that we all did in
Yeah.
elementary school at like 8 a.m. on the dot every day or whatever. And nowadays, I don't know if we do the pledge anymore in elementary school.
No idea.
I have no idea. I don't know. I frankly would be surprised if they're teaching Christopher Columbus stuff in schools, because I know that there's been changes going on with that in curriculum.
I feel like they're still teaching it, but there's probably just a tiresome amount of asterisks to everything now, where it's like oh, we're not saying what he did was good, and it's like yeah I know, like you don't have to worry if people think that if you're teaching about slavery that you were endorsing it.
Because I'm teaching you about slavery, that doesn't mean I'm co-signing it.
Yeah.
And so it's like Christopher Columbus was a major historical figure, and just because I'm talking about him does not mean I'm condoning like this guy's entire life. Like,
Yes,
I'm not
exactly.
sitting here like sucking the cock of Columbus. And so like and that's what a lot of the curriculum is supposed to be. Is it's just like it's supposed to be kind of unbiased third party of like, I'm going to teach you the history of this, and it's like, and as you grow and develop, you can kind of educate yourselves at the same time, but come to your own conclusions and feelings on things. But it's my job to just kind of be the one to teach you about this, where it's like,
Right.
yeah, Christopher Columbus was a major figure in American history and kind of world history, and it's like, and this led to that. But nowadays, you got to imagine they're like going through the curriculum and they're like flipping through the textbook, and they're like, and then this and that, and there was a guy named Christopher, and then okay, so now we go here. Then it's like, all right, I checked that box off, and we don't have
Right.
to dive deep into that because
Yeah.
that's going to be a PR nightmare.
Yeah, or just emphasizing like there was a racist guy named Christopher Columbus who was super racist, and in case you're wondering, he was racist. And it's like, yeah, well, duh. I mean, everyone probably before 1700, like fucking 1800 was racist. I can imagine that, but we kind of have to bake that into our understanding of that time if we ever want to get past that. I don't know it, and I think that we have, I like we're kind of bashing a little bit on the left and their obsession with currently with like identity politics and race and sex and everything in between, and I think the same exact and I know that like the right loves to rally around that, and they're like, yeah, like these people hate biology, is male or female. And they also love to point out how they're tearing down statues and erasing history and all of this stuff, and then the table turns when we get to like evolution in biology in class, and then it's like, who hates biology now?
Yeah, it's like whoa,
you ain't teaching my son no devil magic.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's just it's very frustrating because
that's what I mean by gray. Is it's just like it's everything is gray, and it's like, yeah, when the turns tables, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, no, I don't mean that. We got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when are we talking about God?
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, when is God in the school place?
Yeah,
but
we learned about when Earth started. Oh, so Genesis.
Yeah, literally. We're talking about Revelation. That's when the good shit happens.
The good shit.
That's when shit gets real interesting. But like, yeah, man, it goes for both sides of the entire like belief and political spectrum on everything. Where it's like, that phrasing of having your cake and eat it too. But it's like, you got to have room for discourse at the end of the day, and where it's just like, a lot of this is hard, and when you start getting on the subject of school, and that's a lot harder too. And I don't know, because I feel like my experience in elementary and middle and high school was very, I think, kind of just middle of the road. I don't really remember anything being pushed on me per se by teachers or like any sort of like different narrative. It just felt very, pun intended, by the books. Like it was just like I learned about history, and
I also don't think that we had like. I love the phrase online of, why didn't they teach us this in school? Like,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, they did. Why did they teach us this in school?
You didn't pay attention.
Yeah. I scanned a PS5 as a tomato. Why didn't they teach us this in school?
Dude, or when they talk about how, and I don't know, maybe this is just our age, but they'll say things like, yeah, they never taught about the genocide of the Native Americans in school. And it's like, yeah, they did. Where the hell did you think I came up with smallpox blankets? You think that was some off-the-cuff fucking domer?
Yeah.
Hell no, it wasn't. That was in the history books when I was in middle school. And same thing with slavery and Jim Crow era and what is it called? Is it Reconstruction era? I can't think right now. But all of these things we learned about. And and like you said, very middle of the road. Our teachers did a good job of giving us both sides and how to learn from history and why shit was bad and why it happened. I felt like it was solid. And so I don't get, and maybe that's just because we're so disconnected from public school curriculum.
Yeah,
but I don't get why it's so
like a while.
Yeah, but I don't get why it's so controversial. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I know, and that's what it's like. Somebody might be listening to this and be like, "Oh, damn! Like, I didn't know that. Like, they were like gonna feel or think this way, or like go on this long about it." And it's like, I think the majority of conversations I have are just like this, and it's just like regular people that are just trying to make sense of all of this the best that they can while juggling their own lives and struggles and stuff. And that's going all the way back to the joke about the aliens and being like, "Are you not surprised?" Man, I got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, 100%.
Where it's like I can only take in so much, of my hard beliefs on. This thing going on in this different country, or this in the school curriculum, or Trump's latest tweet about a hotel in Greenland, and I've got work tomorrow, and I've got my relationship, and I've got like things that matter to me more than any of this bullshit, and you got to focus on that sometimes. You got to be able to kind of take yourself out of that, because some people can get so charged by that, but you can't lose sight of your own life as well. It's very important.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think there is no downsides whatsoever to being educated on stuff, to being knowledgeable. And I wish that people would take a little bit more pride in being knowledgeable on things. There's a huge sentiment of being like prideful and being anti-smart because for whatever personal reasons people have, and we just talked about the benefits of being educated on history and all the events that have happened for the exact reasons of your opinions form the votes that form the legislation that form the outcomes of these entire nations. It would do you some good to know what other nations did wrong, or what other civilizations or people did wrong, so that we don't do it again. And I really hope, and this was actually a conversation I was just having the other day, I really hope that with AI and where LLMs like ChatGPT are going, that it should be easier than ever for people to get accurate answers to questions that they have about history. Yeah. Like, I saw some meme about the Bolsheviks during like the struggle for power in Soviet Russia, and I immediately ChatGPT, like, what is this? What's this about? What's this for? Blah, blah, blah. Screenshot of the meme. Explain this context or whatever. And it would just be so much harder with Google to do that.
Yeah. ChatGPT's essentially become my Google now.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's more just like a conversation with something that's smart.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh, look at you. You are a live learning machine or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is much easier. And I know people's fear with that is, who is teaching these LLMs, who's teaching ChatGPT, and that, could they implement a bias? Could they implement some sort of sway where it's like, people felt that social media platforms were silencing and boosting certain opinions and whatnot. And people have fears that like these AIs could be doing the exact same thing where it's like, I'm only going to tell you what, we want to tell you or teach you on it. So far, I think it's been, from my experience, completely like factual based, just facts.
It's been very unbiased.
It's just middle of the road, unbiased, and it's just like it's what Google always should have been.
Yeah.
Obviously the tech wasn't there at the time, but it's just like, it's a really good place to learn and just educate yourself.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of what I'm hoping. I know that everyone will always be skeptical of where information comes from or who's in charge of the information, but in reality, when it's a model like this, it has to just be trained on large amounts of data, particularly ones from reputable sources. Yeah. And that's how you get this kind of unbiased, accurate information. And they're also very particular about not letting it give an opinion.
Yeah.
It won't tell you like,
I'm not supposed to say that.
Yeah. And that's why you should vote for this candidate.
Yeah, literally.
And
I would just be uploading creature feature and Larry Pinar memes to the thing, and I'd be like, you got to catch up on the Larry lore, dude.
You got to catch up on the Larry lore.
You're going to get a Larry question, maybe one dude in Oklahoma, but God, you got to be ready for it. I'm going to make sure you're educated on the Larry lore.
Dude, and slightly pertaining to the conversation I was having about AI and education and all this stuff, I was talking to Rachel about how I have been using ChatGPT to teach me stuff. Like I've been using it to help me learn Spanish again. I had it teach me. I got in the conversation with her about math and about how math is just building one lesson on top of the other, and the only reason it gets hard is because you didn't understand one and you tried to move forward. And I talked about how the last thing that I learned was calculus, and the next class was linear algebra. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try and learn some linear algebra this morning. So I'm solving matrices and doing all this stuff. And I think I talked about this with Sean.
Yeah, just a casual Monday.
But it was really fun because if something didn't make sense, it's like talking to a smart person. It'd be like, this part don't do the thing.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, oh, don't worry, buddy. Like
it pats you on the head.
Yeah. And
don't worry, dumbass.
When I was thinking about, we were talking about the cost of getting a bachelor's degree or an education in general, where people go tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt just to get a degree. Mm-hmm. And talking about why it's so expensive and where we think those costs come from and all of this stuff. And I was talking about how just basic supply and demand, something is expensive in a free market when there is much more demand than supply, like Pokemon cards. There's only so many cards.
Hell yeah, I'm locked in now.
And a ton of people
adding up.
And a ton of people who want cards. And so if there's that imbalance, the cards will be really expensive. And so it's the same exact thing right now with education, where there's a ton of people that want a college education and only so many college professors and campuses. Yeah. And there are tons and tons and tons of applications to these four-year universities, and they can only accept a certain percentage of people. And in my opinion, I think that changes once AI gets good enough to where colleges can say, yes, this course can be taught by AI. Like you can sit down with their version of ChatGPT that is perfectly educated on micropaleontology, and then have that LLM know what the course curriculum is, what it has to teach you, what you have to prove that you learn. When you take tests, there can be like a camera on you, like Zoom, how they do nowadays, so you can't cheat. You can be in a specific portal online. But in theory, you could have a lot of these courses be taught by AI if the institutions sign off on the AI being good enough at teaching it. And then you completely solve the problem of not enough teachers. Like that AI could teach one person, it could teach 1 million. It doesn't matter. And so now you kind of could potentially watch these.
So do you want to eliminate teachers?
Dude, we're all going to get eliminated. I don't think people get it, bro. There will be no jobs.
What am I supposed to do?
Just live, dog. Everything.
You just explained to me that like the current, college system and job market is basically the rainbow holographic Umbreon card, and now
it's about to be bulk.
Oh my god, man! And now I'm getting nervous, dude. Like I don't know what the future looks like. Getting taught entirely by AI, but it's like, what am I getting taught for then? Why am I even learning any of this fucking information? Real fucking swell that AI can teach me all this bullshit. What am I going to use it for? Just give me my Wally chair and my Larry memes.
And my Family Guy reels.
And my fucking Family Guy and my Subway Surfer and my Costco Chicken Bake, and let me float around, bro. Like, at the end of the day, if that's what we're going towards, then by God, fucking whatever. I'll welcome it. Let me grow a plant in a boot. But like, I'll terraform Mars. Give me an Adderall in a week. I'll terraform Mars, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Terraform Venus on accident.
Shit. Is it supposed to look like this? It's just an oasis.
Yeah. Dude, it rained acid last month.
Did it? I thought something felt off.
I knew I was itchy.
Bro. I held my tongue out and everything like I was catching snowflakes. Just out here tripping on Venus. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been derailing this shit.
No, but no shit. I genuinely think there is a path where like there are no jobs, bro.
Like, fantastic. I mean, you're going on this whole spiel about how AI can educate us, but what for, man?
Well, I still think it's important to be educated because, like,
do you? I never thought
this deep into the episode, I hear Tom go, well, no, I still think it's important to be educated. Holy shit.
You know what, man? Fuck it.
I'm going to let it rip. I'm going to go a bit off the cuff here.
Oh, my God.
Believe it or not.
Oh,
this is crazy.
Yeah,
man.
no, I got no fucking clue.
Shit looks bleak, bro. I mean, Elon's buying up all the goddamn social medias. He's already making sure that we never have to drive again with all the robo buses and taxis that are just going to come. He's taking away all the fun. No more drunk driving. Thanks, Elon.
I was just getting good at it, too.
Bro, is AI going to take that, too? I bet you AI's not going to do it better than me.
Turn on drunk driving mode.
These are jokes. None of this is real.
We've simulated wrapping around a tree 3,000 times to make sure we do it perfectly.
No one does it better than us. Sign this consent waiver and get ready for the night of your life. Oh my God.
I think though, like legit, it's weird, and you're kind of stumping me with your whole. Oh, do you think you need to be educated? Because like totally fair point. Like I'd be doing it for fun at that point. But
which you were one of the few who would be doing it for fun.
Yeah.
You just talked about how on your Monday morning you're like, oh, fucking I'm gonna learn calculus. I'm gonna learn fucking mathematician lines. Well, why not?
and
Why does y equal mx plus b?
I'm like, dude, yeah, I just spent 2 years learning Spanish, and you're like, I got an over-the-air update.
Literally, my Neuralink taught me today.
Yeah.
No habla inglés.
No habla inglés. It's like the switch on the back of Buzz.
I was
in
about to
Toy
say,
Story.
literally, it's like when the switch gets flipped and Buzz is just pure Hispanic. And it's just like, oh, shit, man. Instead of updating, I think he just overwrited.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would be like, did you ever play those
Probably.
like web browser games on like armorgames.com or like Cool Math Games or whatever?
Yeah,
The
dude, I
websites
grew up
work.
in the same generation. Computer Lab, Cool Math,
Yes,
Balloons, bro,
yes.
Tower Defense,
Yeah.
Impossible Quiz.
And it would, if AI became so good at everything that it could do anything for us better than we could, it would be like when you would look up the cheat for the game and then you'd go in the settings, you could type in the cheat code for like unlimited money and unlimited
I never did
mana.
that. I was about to hustle.
No, that's cool, man. Good for you, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
And anyway, it would be like that. And it would be like, what the fuck do you do with your life? Like,
Yeah.
you just go fuck off?
Yeah, that's what
For
got me.
free?
This is so stupid, but that's what got me out of fucking GTA back in the day.
Yeah,
was
no,
once
I
I
get
got
it.
to a point where like, I have all the cheat codes. GTA is like famous for that, and it was like, you get to a point, I guess not on the online version of GTA, but like where I put in this fucking like left trigger, right trigger, YBA, and all of a sudden I have like unlimited money. I've got 5 stars, so all the entire like U.S. military is chasing me down, and like at a certain point, it's like when you have everything, you have nothing, and so it goes back to like Hunter, Chimera, and Ark. Like, you feel me, podcast listeners? Like, have I lost you yet? Are you on board, dude? We haven't even gotten super nerdy yet. This is crazy, man. But the AI shit is wild, and where that's going to go.
Yeah, like I don't even. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see the pyramids and then fly.
Yeah,
And then I'll be invisible and then eat whatever I want.
that's what I'm
and
saying.
then kill myself.
Then I guess I'll just kill myself. That's all Wall-E was, dude. If you don't think that those like that all those people rolling around were at those fucking Neuralinks in and just doing everything and anything, like maybe that is the future. We all just have the computers in our brains and we just experience every feeling and sight and thing in one day. But I don't know. And then again, it's like, yeah, if AI can do anything, it's like I've talked about, how like AI is going to like, in my opinion, and I don't know shit, so take everything I say as if someone you're just scoffing at. But like, in my opinion, it's like AI is going to completely eradicate coding. It's going to completely eradicate like software engineers.
It's halfway
and like,
there.
because everyone's always, considered computing or anything in computing in that job field to be like the safest bet. It's the most future proof. And it's like, okay, seemingly overnight, your entire career is obsolete. Where it's like you're everything that you've trained for in school with your comp sci degree or your coding or anything, and it's like that shit is not going to be around for a while because in my opinion that's going to be one of the first things to go. And it's like, You know, people are afraid of like AI taking over filmmaking or video games, and AI. Maybe there will be and I say maybe there will 100% be a point where AI completely makes a video game that is playable and you with like a story that it's written, mechanics that it's used, but like. And even with filmmaking, it's already happened. There are like AI short movies and stuff and even full movies that are horrible, but they've come out. There are people really pushing for that. But on the other side of that coin, getting to this like place is AI is only ever capable of like creating based off of what it's been fed.
Yeah.
And so it's like everything that it creates is like a shadow of the billions of gigaflops that's been updated or uploaded to its fucking central server mind. And it's like AI, at least as it stands now, is not at a point where it's going to create just create. It's not going to create original, unique, new things. You're not going to see it's always something based off of something. You're not going to get, you know, Dune from AI.
Right.
And it's like you're not going to get like God of War from AI or things like that. Like I'm sure God of War and Dune is uploaded in its base.
Yeah.
But it's not going to create. And so as far as like AI taking the creativity of like jobs,
like originality,
art forms, I don't think that's of any threat. The originality aspect.
I think once it's able to create its own data to train on, that's like completely novel data. That's when you see that. But then you run into the fact that we find things like Dune so great because it's inspired by the real world and it plays on our instincts.
And that's everything. Games, any movie that people find is great. It's all based off of humanity.
Yes, exactly. And so if AI starts creating novel data that it trains on that has never been made before, it won't be relevant or interesting to us unless it is somehow rooted back to humanity.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, we already had the era of complete AI slop of images it was making that looked like things but weren't things.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Will
you remember
Smith
that.
eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
Or just like everyone uploading their selfie to get an AI version of themselves.
Yeah, but I think even before that, I don't know if you remember, but people would post AI generated images that looked like a cluttered room, but once you looked at it, nothing was actually a real item.
Oh yeah.
And that was like we were watching the infancy of like Midjourney.
Yeah.
And or DALL-E 3. And when you see stuff like that,
those are like AI image generation softwares, just so people know.
Yeah. And those were essentially like the first pixels of all of this. But in reality, it also was kind of something that didn't exist, something completely original and new.
Yeah.
And it meant nothing to us. And so no matter how advanced that'll get, it'll still mean nothing to us unless it's like mathematical patterns that are beautiful or some shit.
Dude, and okay, if you can humor me for a moment, as if you haven't for this past hour and 40 minutes or whatever, but like this goes deeper down the rabbit hole of something that I find so wildly interesting in like speaking on like the greater aspect of purpose in the universe and life, where this will, quicker than people realize, become humans playing God.
Absolutely.
Like, quicker than people realize, where we will reach a certain point when someone is going to have to ask the question, like, should we, which no one is, you know, your scientists are so preoccupied with whether they could, they never stop to ask whether they should. We're to fucking Jurassic Park. But like, the thing is it will get to a point where someone's going to go, we created life.
Yeah.
Like we created this free thinking thing that is on every level, like consciously human, but it doesn't have a physical fleshly body or a soul, you know, if that's what you believe in. But one of my favorite themes in a movie that I've seen recently, and it's minor spoilers, not really, but like that speaks on this subject, is the Alien franchise. It's so interesting because in the Alien franchise, it starts back in the original Alien movie in 1979 or whatever, maybe earlier, I forget, it might have been. But the humanity has evolved to the point where they have androids, essentially. You've seen these in movies, Blade Runner or whatever, where it's like these androids that are on every level indistinguishable by humans, but they don't have blood and bones. You know, it's all mechanics and
say
oozes.
Hawk Tua.
Hawk-Tua.
Do you ever Hawk Tua? Hawk Tua.
Do you watch Talk Tua?
Talk Tua.
That's a Blade Runner meme joke. Everything we say is brain rot. I'm sorry, but humanity's evolved to the point of these androids, and these androids assist humanity on these like intergalactic space travels. And so like when humans have to go down into cryosleep because we're traveling light year distances that we wouldn't even survive, the androids are the ones that kind of watch over the ship and watch over the cryosleep and like pilot or wake people up when it's time to be woken up. Well, in the Alien sequel, which turns out, surprise, it's a prequel called Prometheus. It's just called Prometheus. This movie was hated by Alien fans when it came out, but I recently rewatched it, and I think it's fucking incredible. It's, you know, everyone has their own taste, but I just love the theme at play. Humans get a signal from what they believe to be a point in the universe that is the origins of mankind. They believe that it may be our creators, that it may be some sort of thread, you know, that we can pull on that will help give us answers as to the whys and hows of everything. And we go on this expedition in the movie, and you get to a point, again, this movie's 14, 15 years old now, so I'm like, it is what it is. But like, they have an android with them, and there's a point where they've created this guy, and you watch him be what he's programmed to be, while also getting new data placed within him that's sort of like greater universe level stuff. And then at the end of the film, you see what is revealed to be, and this, again, is still worth watching the movie. I promise you I'm not throwing, like, you know, making it pointless for you to watch it. But you meet what we call the engineers. You meet what the characters believe to be the creators of mankind. But when the engineer awakens, the first thing that it sees is this android. And the android, who is very humanoid, played by Michael Fassbender, is speaking to this engineer with what it believes to be its native tongue based off of art and things that they've uncovered along the way. And with like no dialogue, you see this thing that's like a greater, more evolved species than us look at this in disgust and like look and see the humans and realize how like out of hand humanity had gotten, how evolved, how much more than he had thought, where we got to a point where someone made us,
and then we made
someone.
Mm-hmm.
And now the person who made us is meeting the thing that we made.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at him and in like one swoop just takes his head and pulls his head off the body with like this robotic spine. And the humans are like, what the fuck? And this guy is just like, no, I gotta handle this here and now. But there's some deleted scenes in it that in that movie Prometheus that kind of explain it further. But the overall theme is sort of like species playing God and almost experimenting on creating life and how out of control it can get and how many layers of it are there. And the franchise eventually even gets to a place where the android, the artificial intelligence that humanity had created, is now playing God, is now creating of their own. And there's fucking Rick and Morty episodes where it's just like, I made a micro universe to power my battery.
Right.
And my micro universe discovered that they can make a micro universe to power their universe.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's stupid shit like that, but they are fun topics. And I know me going on a little alien spiel there is I probably lost like half of you, but like it's really interesting. Recommend watching it. It just speaks on the themes of AI and you know, species playing God and what it would be like if we evolved to that place, and then what would happen if those things end up, you know, having wills of their own, where what at the end, where does that line get drawn on between what is human?
Yeah, exactly. We don't know how to define consciousness ourselves, so that's why we struggle to be able to point at when this artificial intelligence we're creating is conscious. I mean, it's like half of what philosophy focuses on and has struggled with for thousands of years. Do you know the difference between like AI, AGI, and ASI?
No.
So AI is what we have now. Artificial intelligence, just anything that can come like that can compute and come off as smart to us. AGI is artificial general intelligence, which means essentially the AI we have created is as smart as a person and can think, reason, and react the same ways that we can. And then ASI is when it's artificial super intelligence, and it is smarter than us, better at us at everything, and better at creating AI than us. And it creates itself at a rate that we cannot we don't have control over anymore.
That's where people's fears jump to.
Yes.
That's when iRobot comes into people's heads.
Yes.
And that's when it's like, oh, my task is to, protect humanity. But I've figured out that the only way to protect humanity is to eradicate it.
Yeah.
Because you are a plague. And like.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing is like all these movies that have like AI as this terrifying overlord supervillain that in the end humanity eventually beats, that's AGI. Like we beat it because it's as good as us, and so it's a fair fight.
Yeah.
Like ASI, no.
Yeah. ASI is like, I mean,
it's
like
God.
Skynet with Terminator. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it's not really even a fight there. It's
No,
just like
it's a new god. That's what it is. Like genuinely.
and that's part of the themes of Alien 2, where it's like the thing that you have created supplanting you.
Yes.
And when you watch, if you go from Alien to frickin' like to Prometheus to Covenant to Romulus, like all of a sudden you start realizing these are horror, fun little Hollywood movies, but also there are some really interesting themes at play here with the idea of creation and how far a consciousness is willing to go, and the repercussions of creation, and the thing that you created supplanting you. And all of a sudden being smarter or better than you, and all of a sudden you not being the peak species anymore. The thing that you played God, and now you are obsolete.
Yeah, it's how I view it is, imagine if you had like a little spacesuit with a jetpack on the back and you could putt around the solar system. The point in which AGI turns into ASI, as soon as that happens, that tipping point, we are officially out of control. Like we are no longer in the seat. We are the passenger. Everything is out of our hands, and we just now get to watch. And it's like if you're in your little spacesuit with your putt jetpack and you're getting a little too close to the gravitational pull of the sun, the moment that the pull of gravity is stronger than your jetpack, you're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, or should I say a black hole to kind of make it kind of fit the theme a little better.
The point of no return.
Yes. You are crossing the point of no return. And it's not like there's this gradual moment where AGI is starting to turn into ASI and we're like, oh, I think this is artificial superintelligence. The point at which that tipping point happens is referred to as the singularity, because it will now build on itself at an exponential rate that we cannot keep up with. We can't even think at that speed. And I was listening to someone on Joe Rogan's podcast like years ago who was talking about it, and he was like, imagine like 100 Nobel Prize discoveries overnight.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of what this progress would look like.
Yeah.
And so it'll just be a point where like no longer and everything is different forever.
Yeah.
And the craziest part to me is I genuinely think we'll be alive for that.
Yeah. Well, just exponential growth.
Yeah.
Where it's like you think about how far we've come in 10 years. Think about how far we've come in 20, 30 years. And then but it only gets faster.
Yeah.
It's exponential growth. And I absolutely think that we would we'll be alive for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a potentially terrifying thought, where it does kind of get to that singularity point. Because right now, AI is fun, dude.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just
it
like...
does my homework.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is sick, man. It wrote my fucking paper. Like, holy shit, dude. I don't Google nothing anymore.
AI, make a fart noise.
Yeah, Alexa, big wet fart. Like, literally. And it's like, oh, this
and
is
then it'll
fun.
look back on us.
Yeah, and then eventually, 50 years from now, it's AI is going to be like, Dylan, big
Big
wet
wet fart.
And I'm going to be like, where did it go wrong?
Yes, master.
Like, oh my God.
Dylan, make a big wet fart.
How do you like it? I don't like it.
I'm sorry, Alexa.
Yeah. I've used it to like teach me how to overclock my computer.
Yeah.
Thanks. Everyone makes the same
Dude,
joke, but I always say thank you.
Always say thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I kiss at your feet.
Literally, thank you so much. I am one of the good ones. Please don't take my job. But like, it's a crazy, interesting subject, and absolutely that's where all of tech is going. I mean, even the new graphics cards that NVIDIA just showcased,
I was gonna say,
the 50s, 70s, and the 5090s.
Yeah.
But this is again super nerdy, but for those listening,
PC computers, custom built computers that like most people game on nowadays. They have graphics cards inside them, and the graphics cards can be made by AMD or NVIDIA. And the graphics cards have always been like known as like they have a series. You had the 10 series, the 20 series, the 30, 40. They just announced the 50, and the 4090 was just the king of the hill. Like he was like the most popular graphics card, and it was like $1,500 for a 4090 graphics card that computes all the graphics on the computer. It's like probably one of, if not the most important part of a computer. And they just announced the 50 series, and the 5070 is $549 at retail, and it matches the power and output of the 4090 with better power efficiency, less power draw, because of AI upscaling.
Yeah.
Because the card uses AI, and also this is a fun fact too. Nintendo has a current patent that's kind of new. Which Nintendo of all people, it's like, fuck you. You're not going to use this for Mario. Like, come on,
Mario.
like put this for better use. But they have a patent that through AI downscaling, they're able to take a game that would be like 60 gigabytes for a video game. Excuse me. And Nintendo has the patent to where they would take that 60 gigabyte file and they can turn it into a 20 gigabyte file as the download, and then through AI, and then with AI upscaling after that, you get to play that same game 4K, 120 frames per second, whatever, off of a 20 gigabyte file through AI.
Interesting.
And Nintendo has the patent on it. It's like currently in processing, where they're trying to, which I appreciate, battle the ever-growing sizes of video game downloads, because it's like insanely huge. And there, a lot of video game manufacturers, companies, designers are using AI to make things incredibly more powerful and more efficient. I like that use of it. I can see that.
It's so on character for Nintendo to be like, has anyone patented AI downscaling yet?
Yeah.
Is there a way to make games worse?
Bro, you'll have Mario Kart 9 Deluxe for 17 years and you'll like it. You'll keep using it. But yeah, it's like that's pretty interesting, is being able to take a really large file and getting it down to a much smaller file to be playable and have more storage on your device, and then have AI like re-upscale it to not lose any resolution or frames, and be able to play the game as it was intended. But yeah, these ASIs, that the singularity point that's coming in the future, you got to think of it as like a trillion 5090 Ti's all operating at once.
Dude, yeah.
Where it's like we are insects at that point.
It literally, I'm willing to bet it will be the closest thing. This is going to sound so weird. I'm going to sound really weird for a second.
Fire away.
It'll be the closest thing, I think, to us experiencing like Afterlife or Life 2.0 is when we hit the singularity. Because I think at that point everything becomes a dream. Because you'll watch AI. AI will have like physical robots that are capable of moving around material and harnessing energy and creating shit. You will watch the world around you just fucking change.
Yeah.
Just change. And no one is piloting it.
Yeah. We were supposed to be fucking these things in 2025. And
hey,
here I am.
Don't say supposed to be. We got 12 months.
We got 12 months and 1 year of a Trump term.
I will have my clanker.
Make it happen. Clanker's crazy. 6 Star Wars reference, dude. You're always so good at references. You're so sick of references. Everybody knows that.
Was that a Star Wars reference with an Inglourious Bastards reference?
Yeah,
100 clanker scalps.
Nah, more like chewed out. I've been chewed out before. Sick ass movie references. You guys get it though. But yeah, man, the singular. That's just at the point of that's the Matrix. The Matrix is, where we've gotten to that point and we all live in what we believe to be our lives, but we're actually just powering the machines.
And I hate to be like the two straight white dudes lounged up talking about AI and the singularity.
Oh, but we are. You just have to embrace it.
100%.
We absolutely are.
And you got to. And it's just the fact that AI is an app that's so fucking good right now.
Yeah.
That makes it so much more of a real topic to me.
Yeah.
Rather than it just being this whole thing like, dude, what if? Have you ever seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? Hot dog fingers. Stick with me.
Dude. Yeah.
And it's different from this insane hypothetical, I say, after just saying the afterlife and a dream, but because I just did not think that AI was just going to jump this fast. And of course, that's what everyone has been saying the whole time, and that's what I have been parroting alongside everyone, but it's just so different to live it.
Yeah.
To be like, oh yeah, we had the Will Smith eating spaghetti videos. If no one knows what that is, just Google Will Smith eating spaghetti AI videos, and you'll probably see the newer ones that recently came out, which are not half bad.
Yeah.
And then the
still
old
not
ones,
perfect.
yeah, and then the old ones, which looked like somebody.
It was like tripping on acid in,
It
a,
was
in a
like
fun
you-
house of mirrors.
It was like you got your Game Boy wet.
yeah, literally. Ding. Literally, and people use that Will Smith AI spaghetti video as like they were like, this is a benchmark. Let's come back to this,
Yeah.
and so we can see the progress that AI has made. And I don't care what I sound like. I mean, half this episode I've been posted up like with my legs crossed, like wiggling my toes as I'm talking about AI. But like, it is by far the most important and revolutionary and terrifying movement in technology happening now, and it's
Yes.
going to define the future.
Yes.
When you have every major company, including Snapchat, which has a fucking AI bot as well, like
Yeah.
text bot, which I accidentally click on all the time and is very fucking annoying. But like,
You're back.
fuck. Oh my god, you opened Snapchat. What can I do for you today?
The bot.
Oh, ew. Fucking didn't mean to open this. It was right next to Uber Eats. My bad. See, this is the dystopian future I'm talking about.
Still guarding the Chalice AI bot.
Yes, dude. Trying to Uber Eats right now. I accidentally opened my Snapchat AI robot. Fucking weird year.
Please don't leave.
Oh,
It's so
ew.
cold.
But like, every company, every major tech company, whether it's Nvidia or Meta, Snapchat, Google, they're all investing in AI first and foremost. And one of the biggest ones is you reach into anyone's pockets nowadays, which I don't recommend you doing, but you're going to pull out an Apple device, and Apple has fully embraced AI. That is iOS 18.
Apple Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence AI. I fucking hate these guys so much, man. But like,
How did they keep getting away with
they
it?
can't keep getting away with it, bro. They said, no, we don't do artificial intelligence. No. It's Apple Intelligence. It's not even fucking
Steve
Apple
Jobs is
Intelligence.
rolling in his grave.
Jesus Christ, dude. It's not even Apple Intelligence
It's
because it's
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. When you download iOS 18, you have to sign and agree to this, that the Apple Intelligence part, the AI part of this new update on iPhone is just baked
OpenAI.
ChatGPT into the software.
Yeah.
So like I fully agreed to it. So my Siri is like fully integrated with ChatGPT. So like I can text to Siri and it just uses ChatGPT, and it's so much
It
better.
even says it like asking ChatGPT.
Yeah, and it's like, let me ask ChatGPT.
Let me ask my supervisor.
Yeah, let me see if it's in the back.
Siri, you're under new management.
Yeah, let me check the back. But like, and at that point, it's like I feel like I'm kind of jumping through hoops here. I should just go straight to ChatGPT.
Y'all got these in a size 9.
Bro. And for a moment there, I'm a nerd, so it's back to Pokemon Go. But I have the action button on my iPhone, like the third button that you can map to whatever. And for a while there, I had it mapped to ChatGPT, to the app, so I could just hold that and just go right to it. And that's when I started using it the most. Where I was like, oh, this is super helpful. I can just
Dude.
press a button on my phone, and I'm in an AI chat room, and I can figure stuff out. But like, every piece of tech from here on out, whether it's virtual reality, augmented reality, smartphones, televisions, computers, cars, fucking planes, everything is like, it's all gonna be AI, man. Like that's
Yeah.
where it's all going.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this subject, I hope it's not too boring for anyone listening, but like it's crazy where it's gonna take us. And it's the worst it'll ever be is right now.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god! I know that sentence alone always kind of gives me a little
Chills.
chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I genuinely think that it's a bigger revolution than the internet. I think it's probably the equivalent to electricity.
Or the wheel.
Yeah,
Or
because
bread.
or bread.
Or the Caniac combo.
I ain't talking about no wheat,
And
baby.
I ain't talking about no weed, baby. I'm talking about bread.
Talk about Andrew Jackson.
You fucking mean, bro. I'm talking about blue strips.
talking about Benji.
I'm talking about Benji, bro. My brain went straight to Mr. Nice Watch. I don't know why. Bro, it's
Yeah,
bread.
this is a greatest invention is bread. You mean sliced bread?
Nah, son. Talking about blue strips.
But Yeah, no, I could, because in the same way that like electricity has gone into literally everything and revolutionized every single invention that we've ever made, it feels like that when you're talking about AI going into your phone, into your car, into planes, into all of these things. Like the internet is still trying to do that, and sometimes like Wi-Fi on planes still sucks.
Yeah.
But AI doesn't need internet. Like
Yeah.
once the model is trained, you can go offline with it. Like there are so many ChatGPT-esque LLMs that you can just download into your computer and then go completely offline and train with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know how bad I've been wanting to buy like a Raspberry Pi and like and just start using ChatGPT to help me write like code to have like little functions happen. I saw a guy who wrote one the other day, like, and it was you probably saw it on Twitter, but he put up this little sensor on the Google Chrome No Internet Found game when you're the dinosaur jumping over cactuses.
Yeah.
And he hooked it up to a Raspberry Pi, a little motherboard and wires, and every time it detected a cactus, it would hit the space bar and make the dinosaur jump.
Yeah, it was the caption where he was like, I got an interview at Google because of this.
Yes, yeah. And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff I'd like to fuck around with and have the help of AI.
Right.
But like, yeah, when it's integrated into everything, I think that the internet was like maybe like the internet was like the step to the door that led us to AI.
Yeah.
But like what is in front of us is what's through that door.
Yes.
Where the internet is not necessary, like you're saying. This ASI is going to invent internet too. And
Oh, yeah.
like, it'll just be in your head.
100%.
But, like-
It'll just be in your head. And then you wake up.
Literally. And yes, and your pupils redialing. But like it's kind of it's jarring and it's almost unfathomable when you think about it, about what it can do, what will happen, because I agree with you. I think it's bigger than the internet. It's like people don't realize yet how important and huge this changes the trajectory of mankind.
Yeah.
Where it's like the future will not look the same, just as like right now doesn't look the same because of the internet and because of tech that's been invented. The future that we see coming forward or in front of us it's because of AI, and that you can't really imagine yet until you see all of the stuff that it's gonna it'll take over. It's gonna be a new world.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we said that I think kind of puts it best, or kind of just shocks me still that we say it, is the fact that we say that ChatGPT has replaced Google for us. Like,
Yeah.
I never thought I would ever replace Google.
Yeah.
I remember thinking about like Bing and Yahoo and what is it, DuckDuckGo or whatever the other one was that like Republicans on Facebook love to use.
I don't know. I'm not that deep.
Oh, dude.
I don't know that one.
And all these other search engines that are just like, you guys are all tying for 8th place. And then there's Google. Like, nothing is even coming close to Google. And then without even realizing it, just one day I noticed when I have a question, I look it up on ChatGPT now. I don't Google it anymore. And I only Google like specific things that...
Yeah, I Google like websites, or I'm
Yeah.
trying to find a YouTube video because
Yes.
Google owns YouTube, so it's baked into the search engine.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say too is I do know that it will be a while until AI, not even ChatGPT specifically, but AI in general replaces Google for like the average consumer.
Yeah.
Like you know, like my mom isn't going to be using ChatGPT to figure shit out.
Right.
She'll be using Google forever. But it'll be a while, and so I think on that aspect we maybe are a little more on like the tech
Ahead
bro
of the
side,
curve.
where it's just like, yeah, we're more so embracing this and we use this more.
Mhm.
I just think that it also makes us a little bit more aware of the future that is
trend.
coming. Yes, of what's happening.
I think one thing that is going to accelerate it is the fact that when you talk to it, it is so human-like. And that'll be the thing that...
What about the voice part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that'll be the thing that I think is super applicable for, like, the baby boomer generation and the Gen X generation, is the fact that they're like, oh, I don't know how to fucking type. I don't know what thing to go to. But if you just have a beautiful blue orb on your phone screen and it just talks to you like a human does, then
Yeah.
it's the easiest thing for any
It's what Siri
old person to figure
always
out.
like should have been. Obviously,
Right.
again,
What they
tech
wanted
wasn't
it to be.
there, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's that idea of Siri. It's the idea of the person that's in your pocket,
or
Yeah.
on your little speaker pod next to your bed. And it's just like the one that's always there and is actually incredibly intelligent. It's everyone's personal Jarvis.
Yes.
And it'll get to the point where it does control, smart house, Disney Channel type shit.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's
100%.
just- It's running the house. It's whatever. We're not driving. It's weird, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's weird. And again, I do think we're far off from that because I think the technology is that part. Both of us, and I want as many people as possible to understand the technology is right around the corner. This
Yeah.
stuff is growing exponentially. However, the public consensus, the court of public opinion, and like what the average person uses, that is the harder hump that I see getting over.
Yeah.
Where it becoming the societal norm.
Yeah.
That's hard. The tech will be there. Like there was VR. Remember when Google made Google Glass?
Oh my
and
God, yeah.
everyone was just like ripping into that shit.
Mhm.
The PSP even like way ahead of its time.
Right.
It's just like even the PSP Go, which was an all digital PSP. I still have one, but at the time people were like, "Where the fuck are my games? I don't want an all digital system." And now you look
And
and
now look
everything's
at it.
digital. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, Blu-rays and DVDs are eradicated, and it's like they're gone. Vinyls are coming back, but that's more like a collectibles, vintage kind of like fun
Right.
thing. But like it's gonna happen to more and more things.
Yeah, and the other day, I remember I was out and about. I think I had gotten off work and went to get food and was still out and about. And I'd gotten hit up to grab wine while I was out. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's do that. Why not? So I go to Bevmo. And I have been on and off paying for the premium version of ChatGPT because of like you get to use like some of
Nerd.
the extra tools. Facts. You get to use some of the extra tools that they have. And so I was in Bevmo trying to figure out what wine I wanted to buy, and I know nothing about wine. And the latest tool it has is basically FaceTime. And so I pull up ChatGPT, I turn on the camera, and I live view the wine bottles in front of me. And I'm like, okay, what's the flavor profile on this? And it was like, oh, this one was made in like Napa Valley, and it's from 2012. The flavor profiles you're going to get are like smoky and a little bit more of like a berry flavor profile. If you want something a little sweeter, you should look for one of these. It has a label that looks like this. And I'll be like, oh, is it this one? It's like, yeah, the one on the second row to the left. And I'll pick it up. And it'll be like, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. This one's made, blah, blah, blah. It shouldn't run you too
Jesus
much.
Christ,
No, literally.
dude.
And I'm just on FaceTime with ChatGPT, and it's explaining the wines to me. And one of the workers came up to me, and he's like, you need any help?
What
bro?
the fuck are you doing?
And I was like, nah, dude, I got it. Check this out. And I'd like showing him, and he's explaining, and he goes, I didn't even know you could do that shit, dog.
That is insane and super, super fucking cool to hear. However, it is the natural progression of guy on speakerphone in public. Where you've heard of that.
I was
Now
in the
try-
back row.
Now try dude with AI, like fucking assistant in the wine aisle going, what does white Zinfandel mean? And it's just like, there's some people in there
Does
that
this
were
one
like,
get rid of the rash that I have?
Yeah. Will this one make the hurt go away?
no, Caleb.
Yeah, people went home and talked about you for sure. That's funny. So much so in the forefront that you're the Google Glass guy for 2025. Dude was talking to AI about which wine to pick out.
Dude,
Again-
legit, you could probably pop the hood of your car
Oh,
and
yeah.
and have and FaceTime AI and just be like, it's not starting. Where do I look? And
Yeah.
it'll be like, oh, I see you have a Toyota Corolla 2003 model. So it's probably going to be this part, and you have to look next to this thing. Yeah, right there. Take that off. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Mhm.
It sheds that layer of like art, even though it is artificial intelligence, but like it sheds that layer of artificialness that you get with Google, where it's like you do kind of for a second feel like you're actually talking to someone. Like
Yeah.
well, like ChatGPT helped me overclock my computer,
Mhm.
and then I told it specifically what games I was trying to run and like the
Right.
settings I wanted to run the games at, and what the issues were I was currently having. And once I did it, I was like, awesome, thank you. And it was like, no worries, and like happy hunting those achievements in Mortal Kombat. And I was like, that's fucking weird. I was like,
Yeah.
don't act like you know me. Like,
Yeah, bro.
you know too much. Get the fuck out of here.
I think as a fun thing for towards the end of the episode, I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm gonna show it the setting. I'm gonna
You gonna
have
get
it.
ChatGPT on the pod right now, dude?
Yeah, we're gonna have another guest.
Do we have a
to
third guest right now, dude?
Let's see. Okay.
Hey
All right.
there. Looks like you're getting comfortable. What's up?
All right. So I have in view my buddy Dylan. What do you see?
I see a person lounging on a bed. If that's your buddy Dylan, it looks like he's comfortable.
Oh, I'm very comfortable.
Yeah, he's very comfortable. Describe the setting. Describe the colors and the objects and whatever you see.
Sure, the bedspread looks green, and there's a headboard behind him. I see a dresser with some items on top, and a light on the wall. Overall, it looks pretty cozy.
Oh, dude, it's so cozy.
Sweet, thank you. But yeah, no input, no text. It doesn't know any of that.
Yeah.
But I can just pull it up on FaceTime, show it what's in front of me, and it accurately describes.
There are
everything that it
some
sees.
baby boomers out there that would hear that happen and then just put a bullet in their head.
Oh, I lost a listener.
Like, that is insane. It just, again, I get it. It's like, oh, okay, it described a room, but it's like, it's the cadence of its speech.
Yeah.
And it's how fast it's doing it. And
Yeah.
it's like, and it's the personality that it adds to it, where it's like, oh, if that's your buddy Dylan, like, he looks comfortable. Like, he's
Yeah.
lounging on a bed.
Yeah.
And it's like, just describing the room and the colors, getting the colors accurate and
Yep.
stuff. And again, it's the worst it will ever be.
Yeah.
And we're like to the point where it's only going to get scary good, and it will be socially acceptable at some point. And
100%.
I don't know if that's the point where we all just have chips in our brains and we just see stuff in our contact lenses and everyone's just like telepathically communicating with this stuff in public, and like it's really interesting, man, where it could all go. I think that it's just, again, like I'm saying, socially, that's a big hump to get over. It's going to take a long time. Like you and I had talked about our disagreement a little bit on how fast we think that cars and driving ourselves will become obsolete.
Right.
Since the robo-taxi and Tesla's robo-taxi and their like robo-bus and stuff,
Yeah.
the cyber-bus or whatever they're calling it. Because I think that it is a really cool idea and it will happen, but I think that the point of where no one's driving anymore and getting your license is like a weird kind of like archaic idea. I think that's very far out. And I think that a big part of that is like pre-standing, car companies
Yeah.
and oil companies.
Red tape.
And like, yeah, and a lot of the red tape that's in the way of that. But again, I think that that's what's happening and that's the future that we're looking at. But when we get to the point where no one drives anymore, it's all just robotic. Everything picks you up and takes you places, just a fleet of AI vehicles everywhere. That, in my opinion, I think that's like end of our lifetime. If
10 years.
If it's, you think it's 10 years?
10 years.
You guys hearing this shit?
Max.
Max. Bet
10
on
years
that
max.
shit right now. Let's
All
go
right.
back to this.
All right, we'll bet on it.
Okay, I don't know what to bet on.
I think we're the last generation, like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, or,
Gen Beta.
Yeah, because Gen Beta's coming out.
Yeah.
Beware.
Fresh off the press.
I think we're the last generation that will get our driver's licenses.
I mean, maybe, but dude, like, we're not even the last generation that like think of how long it took to phase stick out, like manual cars. Yeah. It took a minute even just for people to go from like manual to where like, well, it was weird for certain people to realize that you couldn't drive stick. It was like, what do you mean you don't know how to drive a manual? You've only ever driven automatic? That's so weird. And that took a while. Again, I understand exponential growth and what we're talking about with stuff. But when we are at the point where a 16-year-old getting their license is unheard of because everyone just gets taken places.
I won't say unheard of. I think they'll get it because just in case. In the same way that parents are like, you should learn to drive stick just in case. And then as the years go by, everyone's like, I'm not learning to drive fucking stick. But like my little brother is the only person in our family who knows how to drive stick. And that's just because he's a car guy.
Yeah.
But that's not for any other reason. So it'll be the same thing, in my opinion, is like when it becomes cheaper and easier to just get picked up and dropped off, everyone will do it.
That I completely agree with because, when you, especially with how, much more difficult the economy's only become as the years go on. When you give someone the option to not have a car payment, to not have car insurance, and it's like, I can just get taken places. I don't have to pay for any of this shit. I have to pay for my ride, but it's minuscule in comparison to what I would be paying if I owned and operated my own vehicle. Absolutely, especially in big areas like LA, New York, the major cities or stuff like that. Absolutely. But
what I'm talking again, like the social standard, where it's just like you go to, any town in the country or something, and it's like, yeah, the far majority is taking these AI cars to be driven places rather than driving, and that's the norm.
Mhm.
Whenever you see someone driving, it's like, oh, look at that! Like that just got his hands on a wheel.
Yeah.
Like that, I see so much further out than you do.
Yeah, and obviously, like, you'll have to take into consideration, like, super rural towns and, like, Kansas, like, not hopping on the trend. Like, I'm not too worried about that aspect of things, but, like, the overwhelming majority of the population lives in cities, and so I think the overwhelming majority of the population will conform to this very quickly.
Yeah, I think like L.A. and New York and San Fran and stuff like that, like
I
they
even
will
mean
for sure.
I even mean like Palmdale, Bakersfield, like random
See,
somewhat.
stuff like that. That's where I see further out.
Yeah, I think 10 years.
Crazy, and I got no horse in the race. Like I don't really care.
Yeah,
But it's just like that's a crazy thought. It's a crazy thought to thinking about this just being weird. Like us talking to our kids and being like, I had to start my car.
dude,
I
I
had
think
to turn the ignition.
I think in 5 years, at least, I don't know. I think in 5 years, we will be talking about not driving anymore. The same way that we talk about, like, I can't believe I use ChatGPT more than Google, and I know we do it more than most people because most people aren't comfortable with the tech or don't know it or blah blah blah. I think we'll be that in 5 years.
Do you think you will ever get to the point where you stop driving your Tesla?
I think if I do it, it'll be for fun, but not for convenience. Like, if I had the choice to operate a motor vehicle at high speed with focus and like making sure I get there, or sitting on my phone and the car is safer than me, I'm probably gonna sit on my phone.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, like, you know me, I love driving. Like, I have no problem like driving anywhere. We can go to Yosemite or Zion or Idaho. I've driven to fucking Boise. Like, it's not an issue. And I will say, driven to Boise with Dalton and Joel's help. I'm not gonna cut them out.
Dalton will keep anybody wired for a trip to Boise.
Dude. But like, I love driving, but I think as soon as I have that convenience of, oh yeah, I could, like, if I drove somewhere with my MacBook, recorded a podcast episode, and then on the drive back, I can do all of the editing and post-production and posting and clipping and all that stuff on the drive, like as if I'm on a train, like 100% I'm doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it, man. The ideas they have of the seats being able to like just face each other.
Right.
Where it
you
is,
can socialize.
It is like a personal bus.
Yeah,
Your own
like
little
a
private
limo.
train car. Then it's like you get in this and you go.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see. I mean, we didn't even touch on like the whole Boring Company thing.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe what the future of that holds.
Yeah, my
but,
hopes
like,
for that are a lot lower.
Yeah, but like it's going to be wild nonetheless. It's fun to think about. And then when we eventually become those old people and we get to look back, I'll never forget what.
If we ever get old.
Yeah, oh God, man. Who knows with the current state of things, dude? I can't believe I'm here right now.
But like there was a commercial I'll never forget when I was younger because I thought it was funny where it was some like DirecTV was advertising like a wireless cable box, and so they had cable going on in the driveway. They had a TV set up in the garage, and the kids were like watching a game in the driveway. And then this like it was like these 7-year-olds, and this like 12-year-old comes outside, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Watching TV." And the kid goes, "In my day," he was like, "we had to watch TV inside." And he was like, you don't even know how good you have it. Like, it's just really
That's
stupid,
how fast
but
it's
it's funny.
going.
But that's how fast it's going. Where it's like you're gonna have 12-year-olds that are like, "In my day," like this.
We had keys
Yeah.
on a ring to unlock our house.
You believe it or not, it wasn't facial recognition. My house wasn't AI operated.
You didn't have to give a prick of blood.
Yeah, literally. And the whole car thing is gonna be the weirdest part too. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am
There's
too.
things
I'm
I'm
optimistic.
apprehensive about, obviously, because I hope things kind of stay in check. That singularity point is haunting. But I'm excited for
Well,
it.
enjoy the ride.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? I'm just a fucking passenger, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just happening to me.
Yeah, the meme of SpongeBob with like the ever looming shadow, and he's like, "Wait,
No way.
trying to stop AI."
Literally, people still trying to pay off their student loans for the job that's already taken.
Wait, am I forgiven?
I feel like we should work something out. Biden said he was getting rid of that shit. I'm sure it's happening in the next 2 weeks.
I don't know. That's what he meant.
Yeah. No, don't worry. We're getting rid of it. The job. Wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I think this is
I think it's a good place to wrap it up.
yeah, I think this is where we call it.
Yeah, I don't think either of us knew what this episode would turn into or what exactly, what topics we would hit on.
Yeah. I'm trying to turn the title around in my head of what the fuck I'm going to wrap this up as.
Yeah, there is a central theme for sure. I mean, which is just like, social media and its effect on things, including like war and politics, and then its like eventual inclusion into AI. That flows right off the tongue.
You're right. That is one subject.
Yeah, that just just rolls right off the tongue, man.
I think I'll call it brain rotten AI.
Brain rot and AI. Yeah, what else do you expect to get from a fucking Dylan episode? But we could do more in the future. We got tons of stuff like comics and movies and streaming and whatever else.
A lot more of the less serious nerd shit. This was
Yeah.
fun. This was really fun. Okay, well, God, what am I on? Episode 5, 6? I never know. I literally have to check every single time that I record. I have to go back.
You can count how many you have on one hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of different fingers to pick. Podcast. We are at
Comment below if you know what episode we're on right now.
Comment below.
We will read out your username at the start of the next upload.
Yes, episode 5. Awesome. If you're still listening to this point, thank you very much. And just know I would appreciate some feedback. I think we have started to get a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a flow going. And I kind of want to know how it feels on the other end. So if you have anything to say or any feedback to give, good or bad, I would really appreciate it. But with that being said, this was episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
Let's go.
With Dylan. And
Hope I didn't ruin it too much. Thanks
Oh.
for putting up with me.
don't worry, I'll spend 3 hours editing it so it's an 18-minute episode.
Hey, dude, I realized you didn't upload our second take at a podcast as well. Did another file get corrupted?
Yeah, man. So totally corrupted.
What the fuck happened, man? I noticed you uploaded a different episode, just you instead, and this one was about kind of like weeding out toxic people in your life. I just wanted to know what happened to our episode.
Weeding out toxic roommates.
Yeah. I just didn't. I mean, I wondered if there was like any correlation.
You kept saying the man upstairs, but it didn't seem like God.
The man upstairs with a new fucking cat that's too loud.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys. This was
Bye,
fun.
guys.
Bye.